Welcome to the Casual Shooters Podcast, your premier podcast for the casual shooter. And I'm your host, David Riddle. I have a special guest on today. Has a slight bit of an accent. He's from north of the border. And you probably use an app he has a lot to do with. But not only that, he's been to the World Shoot twice, both times representing Team Canada. So if you would, join me in welcoming to the show Mr. Eugene Kuleshov. How are you, Eugene?
Thank you, David. That was some introduction. I wasn't expecting that part.
Well, I hope it it was high enough for your standards.
Well, it's flattering for sure. Yeah, I've been I've been at the World Shoot, and I also declined a couple of the slots I've got from Canada for various reasons. But yeah, it's been an honor to represent Canada at the World Shoot, and I tried to do my best. But Canada has its own limitations, so we just work through.
Yeah, and I would say the years that you represented Team Canada, you had fewer hurdles back then,
Yeah,
unlike today.
yeah.
So it's getting more and more difficult. If it, I know I gave you an introduction, but if you would take a quick moment and introduce yourself.
Uh, well, I live in Canada for 25 years, um, and I haven't started shooting IPSC until 2009, probably. I've been interested in shooting before and just didn't realize that this shooting sport is right next door to me for at least 10 years. I've been there. A friend of mine introduced me to the sport. Took me maybe half a year to get my gun license, get the firearms, get the. We have to go through safety course in Canada to actually be allowed to shoot IPSC. Took me probably half a year to go through that, and I started competing. My first IPSC Canada Nationals was 2009, and uh, yeah, since then I've been provincial champion few times, probably three or four, I don't remember, in production and then in classic divisions. And then I represented Team Canada at the IPSC World Shoot in Florida in production division, and then in France in classic. Uh, I also shot the only IPSC Pan American Shotgun Championship level 4 match. I forgot what year it was, also in Team Canada. And I shot level 4 in Jamaica, 17, I think. Uh, and I'm still hoping to shoot some more matches. We're gonna have Pan American Championship in Aruba, I think, next year, something like that, and maybe Shotgun World Shoot next year.
Oh, branching out. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've been shooting shotgun for a while, like probably over 10 years at least, as long as pistol. And yeah, to mention that the IPC is not the only sport I am shooting. I shot my chunk of revolver a little bit. I've been actually regional champion in Canada like a while back, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. We had ICOR match nearby, and I just took my opportunity to participate. I don't travel with revolver that lot, but that was a local match.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've dabbled in some revolver too.
Yeah, I try to shoot revolver. One of our local clubs, it has a monthly revolver match, which I attend regularly or trying to when I can, and I've been doing well up there for a while.
Is
Never actually shot officially never shot IPSC revolver, but I shot for no score because you can only enter once in IPSC. I did shot for no score, and I'm not gonna say how well I did as well.
This is a no judgment zone. You're okay.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay. Is it? I imagine that it's easier to shoot revolver in Canada with all of the restrictions than it is a semi-auto pistol.
Not really any difference. Like handguns, they all
Oh,
classified the same way. We have somewhat odd classification, firearm classification in Canada. So there are prohibited firearms you cannot have. Some people still have them because they kind of grandfathered them from way from the long time ago, 80s probably, beginning of 90s, or inherited them from parents. Then the restricted firearms and handguns fall into that category. AR-15 guns were also in that category, but they recently got prohibited. Well, recently, like 3 years already, and a whole bunch of other firearms was scraped or swiped under the same carpet or under the same category. But luckily, handguns are still kind of measured the same, except the couple years ago, Canada prohibited sales of handguns, complete prohibition of any handgun sales. So you cannot acquire a new firearm. The new guys cannot get any handguns. They cannot buy. There are some exemptions of that, but probably not worth to mention. Uh, like
okay.
Olympic handguns, you can buy like 22s and stuff like that, but again, they're not that useful for IPC and
Right.
most practical shooting sports.
Okay. Side note, I know we still haven't even gotten to the intro questions, but um, what did you think? Because you've been, I mean, you follow all the world shoot stuff, regardless of the discipline. What did you think of the rifle world shoot where they had mini rifle, which is 22?
Well, that's a not exactly new discipline. It's been in IPSC for a while, and in certain regions, certain countries, it's more popular than any other stuff because it's how to say less prohibition
Yeah.
on that kind of firearm 22s, and it's much cheaper to shoot
Oh,
or
for
even
sure.
train with. So although the stuff you're gonna see at the world shoot, you might not able to practice in real life because they do tend to put some longish shots for that kind of matches in IPC especially, and most local ranges probably going to be like I don't know within 50 yards or something like that. So you have some challenges with that as well, but they compensate to that by reducing the
Smaller targets. Yeah.
target size. So there is like a mini target and there is a micro target as well for mini rifle. So you can put it at a shorter distance to simulate like visual appearance.
Farther.
Not exactly the same, but it's kind of give you same MOA simulation
Right.
uh, at shorter
Just without
distance.
the weather effects, really.
Well, yeah, I'm not even looking at that part yet. But
Yeah.
within 100, meters, it's not that big of effect even for 22. Like we're shooting probably not subsonic ammo, and it's there is certainly a drop. Like you can notice there is a drop. Like and unlike handgun, your um, kind of zeroing makes much bigger difference. Like especially when distances grow past 20 yards, and trying to
Right.
keep like US US distances because I'm all metric here. So and going like from 20 yards to 70 to 100, you need to know where your point of impact is, right? For the firearm,
Absolutely.
for your scope, and so on. So that stuff plays much bigger effect than in PCC even. It does play effect in PCC actually. When you start shooting IPSC matches at those distances, they do have targets probably all the way to 75, almost 90 meters in PCC in IPSC. Uh, yeah, so that PCC, not PCC, mini rifle world shoot was an interesting match. They actually ran it at the same time and basically in parallel with PCC world shoot, and they used the same stage layout for the most part. However, they made some changes in targets for mini rifle competitors. So they worked out through match schedule, and I think there was like switch over from mini rifle to PCC for certain areas in a match, not just stages, like areas probably I don't know up to 6 stages, something like that. And they switched targets to mini rifle stages. So there was slightly different target placement, sometimes different targets, sometimes even different number of targets for mini rifle. And it was interesting to follow. Like I wasn't at the match, but I was following, and I'm sure there was a little bit of challenge for the range crew, for the range officers to deal with that, but it was working flawlessly. It seems.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to hit you with the new icebreaker questions I've come up with, and then we'll get into the rest of your background before we move into Practice Score Competitor app. When you first started out, if you could learn one shooting skill instantly, what would it be?
Oh my god. Honestly, I cannot pick one. Uh, it took me a little bit to get up to speed, and I had a great coach who helped me a lot to get started. One of the local shooters, like he was a long time and still is long time IPC competitor. Uh, so after working with him, I realized the shooting part is not what gets you to win the competitions. A lot of it is actually efficiency of movement,
Mm-hmm.
like how you get from one place to another and you complete your stage um, at a minimal time. So the movement part takes a big role in that play. So I guess learning how to move would be one of the most critical skills in most practical shooting sports. And moving, it's not just how you like move from like or step or run from one position to another. There's lots of other things like how your hands move, how your I don't know feet moves, how your body altogether moves, like even leaning part. Like most people who shoot IPSC don't even master the leaning skill, like how you can lean 2 or 3 feet easily just by placing your body right in the right
Yep.
way, position your body in the right way. And lots of people struggle with that, even though like it just takes 5 minutes to learn, really. But people go without it for for decades, honestly.
Well, I think one of the more difficult concepts for some people to understand with that is center of gravity. You know, if you
Yeah.
That's why you should never shoot standing straight up. Kind of crouch down a little bit, bend your knees, lower your center of gravity, and you can lean farther just from lowering your center of gravity more.
Well, that, and also you need to, to keep your center of gravity under you, under yourself while leaning. You need to, if you trying to move your upper part of your body one side, to compensate for that, so your center of gravity stays beneath you and you not fall out, you need to move your lower part of the body right way. And that's actually, if you ever did the climbing sports, that's a basic skill up there right away. So how you reach far without falling off the wall. So, and I actually I've done rock climbing after I started shooting. Like probably I've been rock climbing for 3 4 years at least, until I got some injuries, but that's separate story. And that helped me a lot. So the hand strength improved, the
Yeah.
balance, the all body coordination. That's if anyone like trying to get stronger, rock climbing would be the sport. And it's not as boring as, like lifting weights or doing, I don't
Right.
know, like
It's almost unintentional, but it happens.
yeah, exactly. But you need to be
Yeah.
careful, like, careful what you do there, so you don't get hurt and stuff like that. That there is
Well,
that.
but now there are gyms that have those rock climbing walls
Yeah,
in the gym.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. I was going to indoor climbing gym. I never climbed outdoor, even though I had like lots of opportunities. But that part never interested me. But climbing indoor was a great fun, and it actually improved my physical skills a lot at the time. So I still
Okay.
miss climbing. Like I'm thinking to go back in. But as with most of sports, you really need a great buddy to go with, right? So like you need a partner, uh,
Mm,
someone, someone you can do that kind of stuff. Like even like like most of lifters, they go, like they don't go alone to the gym. Like you need a spotter who hold the weight for you, and same with climbing, you need spotter to work with you. Either like if you do, how to say, bouldering when you're not tied up on a rope. So but you're not climbing that high, but there are lots of like, um, sloped climbing. Or
mhm.
if you do top rope or lead climbing, when you are roped to some holds hooks, then spotter basically holding a rope, and if you fall, he catches you.
Right.
So
So you don't go splat. Yeah.
well, yeah, like, I haven't seen that happening. I've heard people been had big accidents, but at gym it's like reasonably safe environment. Like people go through certain certification to be allowed to do this kind of stuff, and yeah, it's reasonably safe. And again, like it's a matter of trust. Do you trust that person to catch you? And it's not usually, you can see if someone is paying attention, if he's like careful and what's not, the right techniques, like you can tell. And it's yeah, but like I said, it was great fun. It physically was, actually very beneficial for shooting sport. And I was doing same, like both of them at the same time. So that was probably my peak time in shooting when I was doing climb.
Okay. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Well, you're not making any easy easy questions. Right? Um, well, I guess one of the things is to actually force yourself to practice. Like I have a big challenge with that. Like there's a lot of distractions, like work, some fun stuff comes to that, and the practice is kind of suffering from all of that. If I had a power to force myself to practice, I would have been, I don't know, Eric Graffel by now.
So the power of discipline, the superpower of discipline. I'm surprised you didn't say climb walls like Spider Man.
Well, that would be acquired skill. If I had the like even for climbing, I was at the level when like I hit the plateau in climbing because I couldn't go any higher or I can't do any harder climbs because I had to do training which would basically increase my body strength required for that kind of stuff. So you need to do hand exercises. You need to do basically like physical stuff, like even just doing pull-ups or weights. At that point, it was required thing to move forward, and I didn't have the had didn't have the mental power to actually force myself to do this kind of stuff, like to do those exercises. I mean, it was right away, like the weights and the bar was right there. It just you have to force yourself, go in, spend time on and do and again, like it's boring, repetitive stuff, right? So like what the fun, like to do 20 pull-ups or 50 push-ups? It's just boring, repeatable. You can do probably 40 right away. So and when you get to this last 10, which matters, you're already bored as hell. Well, at least for me anyway, right? So, and that was kind of was when you do it that next time, when or you're about to do the next time, you remember thought. Okay, it's been boring, right? And I don't work with hands a lot. Like I'm in IT in the software, so I work with my head for most of the time, right? And while I do some physical stuff, it makes me think and like like I literally bored when I don't have any information, new information coming into me. It makes me don't want to do that again, kind of
Okay.
thing. Well,
Yeah,
it's so silly stuff, but that's the
I get it.
way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you like that mental stimulation. I get it. Okay. What is a food you would never get tired of?
So many choices. um, I don't know. It's funny. Actually, my wife and myself we make about the same salad few times a week. It's just very simple salad. Avocado, tomatoes. I don't know, but like basic stuff. Cucumbers maybe. That's about
Okay.
it. So we like it, and we're not looking for much of a new stuff along with it. So it's
Okay.
a
So a
simple.
salad. All right.
Yeah.
All right. If you could have one or you could have dinner with one person, anybody throughout history, who would it be?
Um, Interesting question. I'm not really into history that much. Like I find some of the like autobiography or historical books somewhat not exactly boring, but a little slow in regards of what's happening there, right? Action and stuff. So I cannot really think of historical person which would kind of entertain me. But I've had dinner with Eric Graffel in the past. That was a good
Okay.
experience. I probably wouldn't mind to sit with him again at some
Now
point.
you're in the tech business. What about someone like Elon Musk or Tesla? What was his first? I can't think of his first name.
Well, Elon is an interesting person, but he is also very uh, has very certain views. Like I don't know. Like you see, the problem is that to have it interesting, we should have similar interests in things, right? So and obviously, like Elon and most of the people in current tech industry, which moving in a very interesting directions, they are like so far away from what I do or what I play with or what I'm interested into. It's kind of it's great to watch them from outside, but I probably wouldn't have to anything to talk to them about really. Like it's just different worlds.
Okay. I think Nikolai Tesla, that was his first name, would be a very interesting dinner, you know? I'd have a lot of questions for that guy. He would probably never invite me back. It would be too many questions.
Well, you see, the way the world where the world is going to, they probably already fed all of his work, papers, any letters he wrote to uh, big language models, to AI. So in a few
Right.
years, you will be able to talk to him like for real if you
That
want
would
to.
be weird. That's going to be weird. Okay. Final question. If money were no object, what would you be doing right now?
Same thing.
Really? Okay. Well, that's a good answer then. And same thing would be still doing tech stuff.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
That's what that's what uh, makes me entertained. I like I like that stuff. It's interests me, so I find it interesting. And the result of my work also, people find it interesting or useful. So,
All right. Now you said you've been in Canada for 25 years. Where did you come from?
well, Russia obviously, but I studied and lived in Saint Petersburg for 10 years.
Okay.
At altogether, yeah. So Saint Petersburg would be. I spent uh, half a year in Denmark actually in transition, but that was about it.
Were you an adult when you left Russia or were
Yeah,
okay. What made you choose Canada?
I don't know. It was just happened somehow. Like I've had few friends who moved in here, uh, like friends I knew for while I've been in university and after that. Um, and interestingly, we actually never met in person while we were still in Saint Petersburg at the time. So they moved in Canada, and only after that I've met them in person. And then I also moved, like kind of following the path,
Okay.
sort
What's
of, yeah.
colder? What's colder, St. Petersburg or where you live in Canada right now?
You know what? People not paying attention to that fact, but actually, Toronto is on the same. It's uh, how to say
Latitude?
horizontal
Yeah.
latitude as
Yeah.
Sochi in Russia, which is very warm uh, place on Black Sea.
Right.
So Saint Petersburg is like North Pole comparing to Sochi. But but you know, Saint Petersburg is also not exactly on the sea, but he is next to very big water, which is well, I'm forgetting the geographical names already. So
Is
the weather is kind of relatively warm at summer, but not too hot. and it's not very cold at winter, but very windy and snowy in St. Petersburg. So it's kind of somewhat brutal. In Toronto, Toronto is on a lake of Ontario, so the weather is very mild as well, and I, I I don't know. Like I didn't notice that much of a difference in weather, except probably less snow in Toronto than in St. Petersburg, and definitely more sun than in St. Petersburg. So
Okay.
St. Petersburg is considered one of the how to say the rainiest places in Russia. So like it's rain and kind of the clouds, the overcast is most days. That's how Saint Petersburg is. Well, it's a great city. Like it's historical. There's like uh, and everything. So Vancouver in Canada probably much similar to Saint Petersburg in regards to the rainy weather.
Okay. Well, I was going to guess the Baltic Sea, which would have been correct, but I guess more accurate is St. Petersburg is in the Gulf of Finland, which I had, which feeds
Yeah,
into the Baltic Sea.
yeah, that's correct. Yes.
All right. Yeah, it is. I didn't realize how far north St. Petersburg was. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's way up there.
yes.
Okay, goodness. All right. So it sounds like you were in Canada 9, maybe 10 years before you got into shooting. How did you find out about IPSC and get into shooting?
Well, like I said, my one of my friends, well, he had a gun license long before that. I was just I knew he was getting gun license a while back, probably 2003 ish. I Interestingly, that was one of the persons I knew from Saint from back from Saint Petersburg. So and we even worked together on the same for the same clients
Hmm.
in IT. So I knew he was getting gun license, but that the first time initially he was getting it for hunting, right? So he was interested to go hunting. I never was interested in hunting, like it just never
Okay.
kind of lighten up for me. And then much later on, uh, he was member of one of the big shooting ranges, shooting clubs in Canada. And they've been running IPC match when he was just practicing his or sighting in his hunting rifles. And he was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So he jumped in, got a handgun, went like got the safety course and start participating. And then I learned about it maybe like half a year later. Like, oh, you're shooting this? Wow. So I just followed his steps,
Okay.
and I guess never looked back.
And how long did it take you to get your um, license to be able to get a gun to shoot?
Well, it depends, right? So you need to go through the course to get the license first. So it's not just you go to the store and show your driver license and I want a gun. So they give you a do safety check. That doesn't work like that in Canada. You need to sign up for the gun license course, and there are different courses for different. Like for handguns, you have to do a little more than for hunting, for example. So if you're lucky and you could find a course next week, um, and usually you are never that lucky. It might take you like a few months to get on a course. After that, it might take something from I don't know, a few months to half a year to actually get the official government gun license, which
Okay.
which used to allow you to buy handguns. Now it allows you to. You can still go through that course, and that license would allow you to own. handguns. So you cannot buy them, but you can still own them. And there are some, I don't know, edge cases where when you can own them without buying. But I don't want to go into those details. But
Yeah.
so
That's a
and
whole
after
other
that,
conversation.
yeah, and after that, once you get that license, you need to like to shoot IPSC. You need to sign up for the course, safety course specifically for IPSC. It's called Black Badge. It's Canadian course. It's been Canadian course, but I've heard it's been promoted to some other regions or some IPC regions. They reusing the Canadian experience on that course. What it does, it doesn't teach you how to shoot per se, but it does teach you how to shoot safely.
Okay.
So it basically drills in all the safety, not restrictions or requirements, I would say, right? The TIPSIC requires you to comply with. So it's not necessarily gonna be make you a good teacher, but it will make you aware of all the safety uh, things you have to do or you have to comply with. So I don't know if you're familiar with that square. When you learn a new thing, right? So like it's unconscious incompetence. That's where you starting your entry into competing into shooting sports. So by the end of black badge course, you are somewhere as conscious incompetence. So
Okay.
you understand you do things wrong way, but you already understand that what the right way is. And then you're moving to other two places like conscious competence that make you things to stay safe and then you apply the same thing to performing well, and then you're moving to unconscious competence when you apply those things safety and also performance related and your like efficiency of movement, accuracy, and everything unconsciously. That's
Right.
what makes that what makes put great shooters apart from everyone else. They don't think about stuff they do. It's drilled into their reflexes. It's drilled to their body mechanics and so on and so forth. So but that black badge course is basically puts you on a very first step into shooting sports.
So when you went through the whole process, how long did it take you from beginning to end to be able to finally get a gun to be able to start shooting?
Well, getting a gun at the time was actually also a challenge. Apparently, I got my first handgun a week before my black badge course because I wanted specific one. I wanted uh, CC-75 Shadow. That was at that
Okay.
time Shadow 2 didn't exist. So I want that specific gun. I did my research. I didn't want anything else. And there was not a single gun was available. So I was going to borrow someone else's gun to go to the course, but I got lucky. I went to gun show. Well, normally gun show in Canada when pardon my French, but people showing off all kind of ancient crap related to guns in there. It's not really modern anything at those events. I was just interested or like just found it entertaining just to watch and look around on those. Like it was also interesting people up there. And I walking around that big hangar with all those tables with all like how broken firearms and like I don't know
Mm,
rusty cartridges and I don't
yeah.
know like First World War knives,
Like
helmets, what's not.
bayonets. Yeah.
And the guy was sitting with a case. I was open up a case of modern firearms, including that CZ shadow gun. Like I like almost fall off my feet. Like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. Well, man, I couldn't find a gun. Like I need it. So next week I had it, and I took the black badge with that gun, and I still have that gun. Yeah. So that was
Oh,
a bit of luck, yeah. But from beginning, no license to course took me half a year, and I was lucky. And
okay.
actually, I was trying to speed things up and all that. So um,
Okay. So you shot your CZ-75 in production initially,
yeah,
and
and I
then
shot
what were you?
and I shoot Florida handgun will shoot with it.
Okay. What about classic? What gun did you shoot in that?
Yeah, the classic was initially introduced in USPSA actually, and at the time I've been traveling quite a bit to US for matches because when you start shooting and you get active and you get addicted, I would say you want to shoot more. And in Canada we have much smaller matches, I would say, and uh, and the quality is different as well. Like you wouldn't see the same kind of competition. Well, sometimes it's great, but it's different, very different style of shooting. Well, it's maybe a little bit more IPSC-ish, maybe a little bit of country or country village-ish style shooting, which is a bit fun, right? Um, but so we started going to yes. So flying to Florida, going to 86, 88 matches, Kentucky, Detroit, which is like 4 hour drive from me, New York across the border on Niagara. So we've been tried a lot. So and yeah, at some around I forgot 2014 or 15, USPSA introduced this single stack division, which
Mm-hmm.
was always been a match somewhere in Kentucky, I think, the single stack shooting society, and they kind of got some, I don't know, some kind of partnership. I don't remember exact details, but so single stack essentially become part of USPSA, and that division acquired all the old single stack shooting society rules, and I wanted to try it. So I got a gun. So at the time, one of the most popular 1911 slash 2011 guns was STI. So
Okay.
the STI, it's now Staccato, the same company, but
Right.
they do very different things. So they yeah, at that time, over 10 years ago, they had a whole lineup of various 2011 and 1911 guns. So I have, I think, three frames of their make, all under Sentry brand. So this is kind of probably not the cheapest variant of STI 1911s. And I've got first gun, and then I went to I've shot USPSA Classic Nationals. Was first one at the time in I think in Kentucky somewhere near Mark Twain area, like old area where you remember those caves up there. I'm forgetting what the places are already. So yeah, and I've been going to single stack nationals for a few years, and they at some point they even had like single stack and revolver back to back. That was fun competitions to attend to. Yeah,
Okay.
and a few years after that, the classic become well single stack ish gun become part of IPSC as well. As in a form of classic division, and I've been shooting classic in IPC ever since. So,
Do you shoot pretty regularly?
well, normally I try to shoot a few times a week. Uh, like we have a club matches kind of indoor. Well, you have to watch your lead levels with that, and yeah, in our area around Toronto, there are probably you can find a match almost every weekend. Yeah, we have a big match coming next weekend. Shotgun match, level three shotgun match, which is unusual for Canada. So it's an Ontario provincial championship, shotgun championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to compete?
Yes. Well, I am signed up, so
Okay.
we'll,
All right.
we'll see.
So I'm gonna watch practice score then.
Yeah.
See
No
how you
pressure.
do.
No pressure.
None at all. Oh, so all right. So that's your shooting background. How obviously when you went to university, is that when did you get a degree in information technology, or did you get a technology degree?
I have a degree in mathematics, actually.
Mathematics, really?
Yeah. Well, technically, it was applied math. So it wasn't so much about computers at the time. I graduated 1995.
So you're old.
Oh yeah.
That whole pause was hilarious. I'm sorry.
How old do you think I am?
I've got you by a couple of years.
Well, here we go.
Had I gone to university, I would have had I just taken 4 years, which probably would have taken more than four. But had I taken four, I would have graduated in '89. Okay, so I got you by a few years.
Okay.
So it's all good. That's why I laugh when I make that joke. Okay, so applied mathematics. So how did you get into the field you're in then?
Well, I always been interested, and I honestly, I almost like quit university. My friends just made me to finish or graduate. Actually, like I was almost about to drop out of university because I've been working on computers, on like personal computers, was doing some side work and what's not. So and I even at school, last 2 years at school, I was actually doing computers. Like I was teaching informatics at school, information technology and stuff. Like was teaching kids how to program at.
Was that DOS?
Well, it was even we don't have those computers. We didn't have those computers at the time in back in
Okay.
Russia. The computers were almost like handmade ones. Like I don't know. That like Sinclair probably was the closest analog you could say it was like. You see, you haven't even heard that name. It's a British computer which was very very popular at that
Okay.
in 80s, right?
Okay.
So and yeah, it was kind of local. I would say computer club at uh,
Was
probably
this
the
in
closest thing we have here is like a community center where you have all kind of clubs like for kids activities and kind of stuff. So there was like sort of community center for kids to learn various things like computers, making like flight models, fix cars, robotics,
Okay.
radio things. There's like a whole kind of stuff. So, and I was in informatics part. So I joined the club, and in probably after a year of being in a club, I become sort of. I was teaching other kids to younger kids than me that stuff. So like in a year, I kind of jumped up. So it took. I did that for 2 years. It was high, like last 2 years of high school. Well, we didn't call it high school in Russian, but that's kind of the same thing.
I
and then I
gotcha.
and then I went to university for mathematics, and there was no almost like no computers. Like we did all kind of mathematical mathematical stuff. Like, there's nothing else but math in the whole 5 years.
Okay. Did you go to university in St. Petersburg?
Yes, I'm not
Okay.
from St. Petersburg originally, but yeah, university was in St. Petersburg, and that's where I was.
All right. So did you get like your first technology job in Canada when you got there?
No, no, I worked for 5 years in Russia. Well, officially, like before that, I had part-time jobs in and off, and also I did like a few co-op months while I was been in university. But after university, I was working in IT department of some retail company, so like big company, and yeah, I was part of the big team, probably I don't know 30 people at least.
Okay. Now there wasn't much time after university before you left Russia to go to Canada. I mean, there's 5 years in there with 6 months of it being in
That's a
Denmark.
lot. That's a lot. five
Yeah.
years.
Yes and no. I mean, over your lifespan, it's a little bit, but when you got to Canada, how long did you already have something scheduled to do, or how long did it take you to get back into the field when you got there?
So that was one of the reasons why I went to Canada. I went on a
Mm,
job visa. So like
okay.
I already had like
It lined
uh,
up. Yeah, you had the job lined
I
up.
lined up, so I started working right away. So like everything was arranged for me. It wasn't like the best job ever, but it was simplest way to get into Canada as well.
So it's kind of like a prearranged marriage where you don't see the woman until you get there and you're like, whoa, that is not what was said.
Sort of so because I had friends working in there, so I knew what I was signing up
Getting
for,
into.
getting
Right.
into.
I get it.
Uh,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
just your way in. I totally get it.
yeah,
All right.
but I didn't had any hassle like looking for stuff, like finding like most immigrants do, like lots of very well educated immigrants coming into Canada, and then they unable to find job like for years. Like, literally, they do like I don't know pizza delivery or what's not, or work in a factory,
Right. Drive a taxi, whatever they have to do, right.
or even to drive a taxi. Like it's pretty much next to impossible when you move in because you don't have the same background. Like you need language, you need to know the area, and so know the like there's no smartphones or barely any navigators at the time. Like you had to remember everything by map, paper map
Yeah, absolutely.
at the time, right? Uh, yeah, but I was lucky, and I was fortunate enough to stay on a job and I've been changing like employees and what's not regularly or relatively, like maybe every other year or two. Yeah, but I stayed on a job, so that kind of allowed me to progress gradually to where I am.
Okay. Now I thought the timeline was pretty interesting too with your shooting and practice score because you said you started shooting about 2009
Yeah.
and by 2000 somewhere was it earlier than 2012 or was in 2012 when you started working on that stuff?
That was interesting. Like I said, we almost immediately started going across the border when we start shooting. So in 2010, or like we already been traveling to US. So
Okay.
I've met quite a few people at those big matches. So when we went to Florida and because like Florida Open been very big at the time. So the Frank Garcia range,
Right.
I think Manny Bragg was working with him at the time. That was even before Shannon Smith joined them. So that Florida Open match, like everyone was going there in like beginning of February. So I went there because the match was like so famous. So I wanted to see what it is like. And it
And it
was,
was warm.
well, that too. But think about it: 10 or 12 stages, all 30-ish rounds.
Yeah.
That was unspeakable at the time, and still is kind of right for US matches. Uh, so and yeah, I shot the match very well, enjoyed it, and on my way back, I was sitting at the airport with two area directors.
Oh, okay.
Area area one and my neighbor's area five. I think I forgot. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Like I know you guys, I know,
It's a long time ago. It's okay.
we haven't met for a while. Like, yeah, and those guys not, they still shooting. I still follow them. Some of them maybe not even shooting, but great guys. Sorry. So they've been talking to me, and like we all talked and like what I do and what's not. Um, and area one director at the time, he was very close with Ken Nelson at the time, and he said, well, Ken Nelson might use your expertise. I was already started doing some stuff about stats for local matches, because at the time, everything was on paper. People been punching scores during the match or after, nights after the match, to get the results out, and then the way results have been presented normally was like, I don't know, like PDF files. That's at the
Wow.
best. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you start looking, it's like, well, what can you get out of PDF? Like, it's very hard to follow your progress, even compare you with anyone else. So what you see in a competitor app, I had at the time, which was over 15 years ago, I had a little website which is already gone, which allowed me to get that information from IPSIC scores and do the comparison, side by side comparison and stuff like that. So and I was showing them that or some other stuff. So we've been talking, right? And it so happened the uh, Android developer who was working on practice core app for Android, which came much later than the original one, was leaving Ken's company. Like, he was working for him full time, and he was leaving for something else. Right? Like, he was an employee. So Ken brought me in because, well, who wouldn't take a free volunteer, right? So,
Right. The price was right.
well, so here I am, yeah, 15 years later, still doing that stuff. And like I said, it's all started with like, I don't know, sitting at the same table with two USPSA area directors on a way from Florida Open match.
Right. So that worked out well. Now, was the competitor app your idea, or was that just something that was considered with Practice Score, or how did that come about?
Uh, you see, like I said, I had this website like while back, so I always had the need to be able to compare results, scores, individual like times, performance, hits, whatever, or even track your performance over time. How does it stuff go? Um, so I wouldn't say like idea is completely original. Like, lots of other sports do that. Like, if you look soccer, like all the baseball stats, the baseball stats or professional soccer stats, it's like not even next level. It's like way somewhere else, because they do science there. I don't. So, uh, but basically, idea was right there. It just someone needed to execute it, and I happened to be in the right place in the right spot. So initially, I because I was worked on the Android app for a long time, on version one of the app, right? So I kind of had that knowledge inside out, and like I just put together a new app for myself, and I ran it for a few months on my own phone and everything. So I played with it and showed some people around, at my local clubs, and then I figured like, well, maybe I should just publish it, and I got a permission from Ken to use kind of practice core branding. So it is still practice core, but practice core competitor, right? So that you see this old PS logo. By the way, logo there is from version one of the app. I kind of rebranded it for the version two to be more in line with new and shiny practice core two. Um, yeah, and so I ended up publishing it. So initially it was just Android version. Unlike Practice Core started from iOS, Practice Core competitor was opposite way. So it started from Android, and there was no version for Apple for probably at least half a year, maybe 9 months. So people been asking to do that, to have an same app for iOS, because it's already was well received for Android. Like people need it, right? It's like looking at results on a website or in PDFs. It's nightmare, honestly. Like websites are slow. Like it's not very good medium to look on the phone as well, unless it's very well optimized. And even then, it's hard. Like you need to be online. Lots of ranges in Canada, or when you're traveling, they don't have internet, so you cannot really do anything. And I don't know, probably people don't pay attention, but practice core competitor are working completely offline. It can pull in matches from either practice core website and also from a few other sources of match results, not just practice core. Or it can even sync over match Wi-Fi if they let you in. So you get like next to live results from local match devices. Some matches actually put dedicated
Oh,
uh,
wow.
sync device, so people can pull scores from in isolated network, so it doesn't interfere with the match Wi-Fi. Um, so and after that, once you pull the scores, it's all offline. So the feedback and your navigation, all the like what you see in the app is instantaneous, and
Okay.
you can standardize results on various way, which wasn't possible on website or anything else before. So,
Is it much harder to do stuff with for Apple products than it is for Android?
well, it had some challenges, right? So, like first of all, with Practice Core one, it was not just single app; it was two separate apps, one for Android and one for iOS. Those two apps been done by two different people. Android was me, and iOS was someone else.
Oh.
So when I was doing Android part, I kind of used large large chunk of you know mm, large chunk of knowledge what was happening on Android and applied it in the same app. Like um, if you haven't seen my post recently on a Facebook, actually it was under Practice Core account. So Practice Core currently supports about, I don't know, close to 50 variants of shooting sports.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just like USPSA or IPSC or ADPA or Steel Challenge, right? So there are much more behind the scenes, right? So like even if you look at IPSC or USPSA, there is like six or seven variants you don't even heard about, and these people shooting them in Australia, Philippines. There are several variants of IDPA. There are several variants of bullseye. There are several variants of I don't know, even like PRS or I'm not even going into three gun stuff, like which which every match has its own unique flavor, and they do variants of scoring. So uh, and when you look at the competitor app, it actually supports all of that stuff out of the hood. So you can pull arbitrary match from practice core website. It's going to show you results in competitor app, which means competitor app have to perform the same math to calculate results as the scoring app does, or as what website does.
Holy cow. How did you go about finding out how they all operated? Because
Well,
now you've got to.
I did most of the stuff myself anyway for Android, and Practice Core 2 app was written from scratch, basically by me alone.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of behind the scenes work you have to do to bring that thing to life. And I've looked at the system that IPSC uses to display their scores and stuff, and I having no IT background or software or anything like that, it's like I wouldn't even know where to begin to create that link for the app so it can pull that information in and then actually decipher it so that the average user like myself can look at it and go and make heads or tails of it. That's a lot of information that it doesn't seem to me is very user friendly formatted the way that they upload their scores. And that's not a hit on them. That's just how they do it.
Well, there are, things come from different needs. Like the system that IPC is developing is their first priority is to serve what they needed to run the match, how to score it, perform results, do like all the way to awards, right? So from and match registrations as well, like all those things. So they have very specific visions how they want that to work for their own range officers. So the what competitors get out of it is kind of secondary for them. So they do post results, and the results that system publishes it didn't change that much in last, I don't know, 25-30 years.
Right.
the, so they just started thinking about it right now. So what's been shown on the world shoot, they just have like short glimpses of what the system could evolve to, so that they start thinking about competitors, like what competitors actually need from those results. But even then, there is that mentality. Some of it comes from like old worlds. So lots of matches used to keep the results in secret until the awards ceremony. So
Oh,
they didn't want competitors to know the results. So they wanted to be a big surprise so that people can get like a big applause and be like shocked that who won. Like people they stay in the dark. But the problem is that top competitors always knew where they were in the match, regardless.
right.
So what is it doing is hurting like average crowd pretty much, right? So like top competitors, they know they only need to grab results from 10 people or stage results, and they can do math on a napkin, or even like Eric Graffel used to do that in his head almost. Right, so he knew how much ahead he was at very stage or after every stage he crossed, like how much he need to push or how much he can be relaxed. He knew. And that was happening for him like 10 years before even I started. His first world shoot championship title was, I think, 99, 97, I forgot. uh,
Yeah,
and
somewhere right in there.
and he had that process going in for him. So I wanted to see the same thing, but without going into so much effort. We used to do that at level 3 matches. Like, okay, so at the end of the match, we're still waiting, like, got an hour to wait until the results. So I was going around grabbing we used to get paper receipts for
Yep.
stage result, which time and hits, and I was putting them together either on a paper with calculator or in Excel if I had my computer with me, and coming up with like what who won, because that was like a big surprise at the time. So, and I hated it so much. So, and when practice core came in, plus the fact that you don't have to spend a whole night or 2 nights entering, I don't know, results from 200 people into the
Right.
computer, which was like, I don't know how many mistakes been made during that
Right.
time. It's insane. So it was so much effort. So when something else came along, so initially before practice core, I don't know if you remember that there used to be a system. Oh my god, I'm old. I don't remember the name. It was something score. Uh,
I,
or
I when I was doing some research a couple years back, I ran across it, but it seemed like all of that data had been scrubbed. Like I couldn't find anything from it, but I could
I
find
could
out what
probably
it was.
you could probably find it, but it was running on Palm Pilots. So
Oh
you
my
can
gosh.
it
Really?
could enter results. Actually, Palm Pilots was great devices. It just you enter that data and then it gets synced, and then it was data was kind of imported into Windows application, and then you get results calculated. So it was still much better than just paper, but the Palm Pilots had their own challenges. The screen was kind of small. You had to use stylus and what's not. But other than that, the screen size, you need glasses to see them for most people. Other than that, it was a very good system. And I shot probably few area matches in USPSA that used that system before they switched to practice core.
That was Palm Pilot was from the era of PDAs, personal digital assistants.
Yeah, I know. It's
It-
the device actually was brought in into market probably maybe even before 1990-ish, or early 90s, and it's been still used at the beginning of 2010-ish time.
wow.
Yeah, I still have one of them working lying around somewhere. Uh, so great device. Anyway, so when we managed to collect all the data, and have results available immediately to everyone, it was game changer. Like, the results. But then for those old timers, it was a big problem to keep results in secret.
Right.
Because the results were there, you can see them on other tablet, but they didn't want people to know. So that
Right.
mentality is still kind of around, and still plays some role, probably to lesser extent than used to before. Now IPSIX kind of opens up much more. They start showing live results and the updating results, but even then you see like some of the results available to public updated maybe once a day, so you don't see the changes during most of the days in a match, in a big matches like that, the world shoot and what's not. So yeah, uh,
So now this is the newest version of your practice score competitor app. Um,
Well,
We have been go ahead.
maybe maybe let me speak of it. That was actually interesting journey per se. As I said previously, the practice core one was actually two different apps made by two people, and inherently to be able to do stuff what competitor app need to do, it had to be two apps as well. So there was Android app, like I said, and the iOS version of competitor didn't come along until like 9 months after the Android version was released. But it was separate app as well.
Oh, okay.
Well, I used my knowledge about the maths and all the inner workings of Android version, so it was kind of simpler to do that for iOS, but there is still like user interface is different, like the whole, I don't know, the tools to build those apps are different, like Apple versus Google and so on. Java versus um, Objective C for iOS. That if those words make any difference to you. So, um, but it's. It's been a challenge to keep the functionality in on par between those two apps. So like essentially, I have to redo it twice. And the same stands for the scoring app. Like we had to redo each new feature twice in both apps. That's why like some of the stuff people been asking or waiting for, we couldn't do it uh, in both apps for like because like it's much harder to get two developers in sync and get the release together. Plus we have to keep all the history. Like if you look at it, the practice score is the only system scoring system for practical shooting which retain so much results. So results from 2010-ish or 11 are still loadable in, you can still load them in the scoring app, view and view results or even edit them. That's unspeakable for in the software industry. Like pretty much, I don't know. You can probably still open some old WinMSS stuff from Ipsy, but that software didn't change that much. Practice Core was evolving a lot over those years, insanely. But you can still open those old matches in right now. You can still see results for those matches on websites. Like how many organizational websites you can think of that retain that much of backlog of their data online. I
Yeah,
I having a really hard time to even uh, name any.
yeah. I went back and created an Excel spreadsheet with all of the area matches participation as far back as I could find, and I think I went all the way back to 2014.
Yeah, but that's on practice score, right?
Yeah, that's on
That's
practice score.
that's that's about 14, probably about right when all the area matches start switch to practice score. They've been using this. I forgot the simple score or easy score or something like that on pilots, and the results been only pushed to USPSA, but USPSA doesn't have that much history. Maybe they do in their archives or what's not, but it's probably not online. Like you cannot
No,
go
I
there.
couldn't find anything there.
Yeah. So the practice score keeps all of the data, and when we work on an app, like me and other developer before, and now I'm probably the primary developer for everything app related for practice score. The new app still can load all that data and process that all data. So we have to retain all that backward compatibility,
Whew.
which is
That's got
so
to be
much
a
more.
lot of storage.
Well, as a storage, the app doesn't use any storage. The
No, but I
website,
mean, all the
yeah,
results, though, those do. And they might be small, but when we're talking, a dozen years of hundreds of matches a year, then that ends
Let's
up being a lot of data.
more like 100,000.
Thousands of per year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see, practice scoring is also unique in a sense because you not only like unlike IPSC system, which they showing off on the wall shoot. For the most part, it's primarily used for level 4, level 5 matches. Some level 3s on certain regions, but again, like you don't have a lot of level 3s. Some countries might have like I don't know 10 level 3s a year, right? So
Mm.
Canada has this year had maybe four, well maybe little more. Ontario had like two level 3s, IPSC matches a year. So practice score had I don't know somewhere from 100 to 500 matches a week.
Holy cow. Wow. I did not realize it was that many.
Well, think about it. Like every club match is there. So I'm not talking about major matches. They have like huge matches with a lot of data, lots of competitors. But there are matches which probably like I don't know 20, 30 people in them, and like I don't know three dash six stages in them. But all of those matches go into practice core as well. So in on a practice core website results.
Wow. Do you
Yeah.
ever
So
see like do you ever
that
see where there's going to be a year where it gets cut off like we're only going to keep 10 years at a time?
I don't know. You should ask Ken Nelson like when
Okay.
he feel like not paying for all that storage anymore. Well, luckily he is not. He had good sponsors over the years, like Zig Zauer and Vortex and Dylan and I don't even remember what was before. Like there are people who, like I mean, companies who actually advertise on Practice Core, and that helps a
Right.
lot with hosting costs and what's not. So yeah, and honestly, I'm not working on a website. Like there is a crew of people who looking after that. So I'm just on like solely on upside. I work closely
Okay.
with them when we kind of need to communicate or coordinate with each other. But website is whole separate domain. And you think about it when big match registration opens, the website being hit by nearly 1,000 participants at once, just even to sustain that load. And the same happens when the match ends. Like people jump in and want to look at the match results. I can see IPSC website is lagging right now. Like it takes, I don't know, 30 seconds to, or sometimes 15, 30 seconds to refresh the results of there right now. That's why I much more prefer the app where when you load result once and then when you jump between stages, results, competitors, it's all instantaneous. Like you did one shot, maybe slow one shot, but then after that your interaction with the results is doesn't have any lag or delay because it's frustrating to to sit and wait for this match.
Right. It's already been downloaded.
Yeah, but
So,
like I said, their website is being hit right now real hard because people want to see the results. Like there is 1,600 competitors in the match, plus all their friends and families all around the world. Right, that's a lot of people. Uh,
right. Ha- Have are you able to tell like obviously the Americans are going to be looking at Practice Score competitor app since you draw that information in. But can you tell when there is an uptick in people from other places around the world looking at it?
well, I purposely don't. Uh, don't put any, let's say, personalized statistics in that stuff. I honestly I haven't looked. Even I probably cannot correlate individual match results to that stuff. I can there are stats just to help us to understand what the use of the app is, which give us general idea, like in a given week, uh, what regions did what, like from what parts of the world certain functionality being used, like for example pulling the match. But and after they pulled the match results, that's it. I don't see they don't have any visibility what they do in the app because everything is offline. So I don't really wanna generate upstream traffic from the app, basically tell what you do in the app or whatever. First of all, it's like kind of privacy thing, and second of all, well, it's interesting, but not probably not that much to be bothered.
Okay,
Kind of, right?
I got you. And I was just curious because, like with the podcast, I can see every country. I can
Yeah,
see activity from every country around the world.
right. You're looking at live traffic to your website. Yeah,
Right.
I can check. I might be able to send you some results after that. Like let's say in a week, which was like during the time frame from um, of the world shoot, how how people pull the match results. Yeah, but that's
Make
yeah.
that a little bit bigger. There we go. Uh, How long does it take? Whoop, how long does it take you when you do an update? Like, how long does it normally take for a major update? Not like a little. I don't know. I I don't even know if I can quantify what a little update is versus a large update. But I feel like the site underwent or the app underwent a pretty major update recently.
Well, there is maybe background story to that as well. We felt that we need to redo the app probably since 2017, all the way up there. But there was not enough probably motivation. Plus, there was not enough reasons to redo it because the old apps work, people like them, and what's not. But things kind of started to change towards 2020.
Okay.
And that's when I got go ahead from Ken Nelson to start working on a new version. We like came up with a strategy, like what we're gonna do, and so on. And I started working on on the thing that now people know as Practice Core 2. So the idea was to like we need a single app for which works everywhere. The app that looks the same, the app that behaves the same, produces the same results, and the app that's still backward compatible with those two previous apps.
Mm, okay.
So it took me probably 8 months or something, and we got funding from one of the sponsors or advertisers that allowed us to kind of partake on that journey, right? So my volunteer work become not exactly volunteer. So I've got partially compensated, or at least like I mean, considering the hours I put in, but it was still substantial, um, substantial compensation for the work. So I started working in 2000, right? So now we are in 2005 already, right? And the COVID hit us, and what's not. So things I got distracted. So I've still been working through all of that stuff in 2001 ish, and then in the beginning of 2002, there was several other non-technical reasons that we realized we need to really push that up to be completed, and it would have to replace the old apps, both of them. So that's when everyone got serious about it, and I probably because of the competition season and what's not, it took me until the fall of 2003 when I start kind of really pushing it. The big problem was how to make sure the results we produced with the new app, which was completely rewritten, like from scratch, the results are identical with what the old software was producing. Right, so that was a big challenge. So what we did, we grabbed, I don't know, about 100,000 matches.
A hundred
Uh,
thousand matches. Okay.
yeah, and that was not everything that practice core had. We just took
Right.
chunk of it, 100,000 matches, which had a good representation of about everything that every match type we had before. Like obviously USPSA, Steel Challenge, IPSC, iCore, IDPA. They probably took bigger attention, but there are other like less popular matches that had to be there. And what I did, I basically ran them all through old software, captured the output results, and then I
Okay.
did the same for the new version, Practice Core 2. Uh, and I made sure everything is identical down to the digit.
Good Lord.
That took me, I don't know, probably nearly 2 months to go through that. Like, I mean, it was working, but I was working through, I was sending Ken Nelson like daily or weekly updates. Like, okay, so we got like the last 3%, last 2%, last 1% of matches. Like, we still had some oddball matches which we kind of disregarded because they are not supported in practice core 2. They people don't do that anymore, or those organizations don't exist, or those sports don't exist anymore. People moved somewhere else. And once we did that, we felt that we are ready to do a switch. So what we did a pre-release of Practice Core 2. It was somewhere early, I think last year, 2004,
24.
and 2024, yes.
Yeah.
And then in September, by that time, USPSA ran at least one nationals on or maybe two on Practice Core 2, and we just couldn't wait any longer for those non-technical reasons. We needed to switch to new software, so we could make updates, we can make improvements, we can bring new functionality in because people been waiting for new functionality. Uh, so um, in September we made it official. So here's September. We are going to support Practice Core 1, maybe keep it in the stores for a few months. And Apple didn't want us to have two apps uh,
Right.
with under Practice Core name with similar functionality. They didn't allow us to. Google didn't care,
Wow.
or Amazon, but Apple said, okay, you can only have one, or we're gonna reject or suspend your account or what's not. So we got an exemption for that for 4 months because we told them people need to verify the functionality is there, need to learn new stuff and what's not. But after that, they told us, okay, so you have a cutoff time, and the cutoff was something like mid-October 2024. That's when we had to remove Practice Core 1 from Apple Store, and we did Android store just for symmetry of things, right? So like people would start moving because people who have an app on all devices, they never update it, they don't care. Like, okay, it runs, it's fine, they can still post the results. Like, why would I update? I know how to use it. New stuff is scary for everyone, right? So like, get new stuff, you have to learn things. It looks different, it looks awkward. People don't like new colors. It's too I don't know, too confusing, like you name it, all kind of reasons.
Right.
Uh, and one of the things that we started, some of the shooting sports been pushing for their results in there. We couldn't do that in Practice Core 1 because that would have to be redone in three apps together. So we put everything in all work on Practice Core 1 on hold, and all the new stuff been done in Practice Core 2. So when those new sports been introduced, the competitor app become lagging.
Mm.
Could not understand those results. So since September 2024 until I released the competitor 2 this August, there was a lag of some matches which competitor couldn't understand or process or show results correctly, and that's been apparently a big blocker for people to move to practice score to scoring up because competitor doesn't show those results, isn't it? Isn't
Right.
it? Right? So like I built an app for computers, and match directors are refusing to move to new app because app for computers cannot show them. That was kind of the most I don't know like how to express it. Like you see the app I created or invented even was was considered so essential for the sport. The people don't want to go anywhere else when the app doesn't work. How crazy is
Mm.
that?
Yeah.
And to think about it, I don't have that many users of that app. Like if you look at numbers, I don't know, Android numbers are probably around 6,000, and Apple maybe a bit more than that. So like roughly 15,000 users of competitor app, maybe 10,000 users of competitor app. That's not a lot of, not that many people actually, not many users for the app. If you look at things like I don't know WhatsApp or Facebook, there are like billions of users. So like 15,000 is nothing
Right.
in that,
Right.
and that's why, people asking like, oh, why the app costs $10? No, let's talk about it for a moment. Like first of all, I built that app for myself, and I felt okay, so I should probably give it away to the world. But then again, like I put some work into that, so maybe if people want that app, $10, it's what? It's 2 cups of coffee in Starbucks, maybe less, even that.
One and a half.
Well, here you go.
Yeah,
So
one and a half.
$10 in a shooting sport, like what is it? Like you shoot at the range probably x number of times that every match or every range practice. $10 is nothing like for one time payment or for an app. And the beneficial of the app, like the way I see it, is like uh, it's 100 times different from what you see on a practice core website, even, or USPSA website, or IPSIC website. Like uh, it's a completely different experience, and things you cannot even, like most of things you cannot even do on those websites.
No, you can't.
But in competitive cup, you get like unified experience for all kind of matches. Like to think about it, like jump between IDPA and USPSA results and still see about the same stats in a very similar way. It's well, to me it was amazing. Like it was a game changer for me personally. That's why I kind of wanted that app to go out, not because I wanted to make money out of it. And the amount of work I put in is not compare cannot be compensated, but that one time payment, like if you think about it, right?
Oh yeah, no way. I mean,
So
tech I would say, if this was anything else that I don't like putting apps on my phone unless I'm going to use them. Like I delete if 30 days later, or no, I'd say about 60 days later, if I haven't used an app, I delete it.
yeah,
And the ones that I keep, I mean, there are some that I hedge back and forth on because it's a subscription and not just a one-time payment. I'm much more apt to buy something that's a one-time payment because it saves me over time. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that the individuals who made that app are getting their money's worth out of it because,
well, that's
like
the
you said,
thing.
you're very limited.
Yeah,
And if you're
and
constantly updating it like you are, then you're going to burn through, whatever money you've already collected.
well, Well, the thing. So I'm not making a living out of making competitor app.
Right.
So
No,
that's
you're
my
not.
not my primary job to begin with. Or practice core, not even my primary job to begin with. So I'm doing practice core work at my own time, pretty much.
Right. Outside of your
And not
normal work
not only
hours.
app core, but a big chunk of support as well. So if you think about it, but as I said, uh, we had to make practice core to release, but then by the time of August, there are other deadlines kicked in, and I had to make a major update of competitor app. So I was working it like on and off, like maybe even in parallel with practice core 2 app. But then there was lots of improvements, new work on practice core. I couldn't dedicate any time for competitor. But then towards end of June or July of this year, it's become apparent that the old competitor app gonna be removed from app stores, like it's gonna cease to exist if I wouldn't do a major update. And the only major update I could do, which would understand the new stuff in practice core 2. So I had no choice to release that app. Like the release was somewhat rushed. So like I
Okay.
had very short time between my competitions and the shooting season. Like we had provincials, we had several major matches in Canada, and what's not. Plus, I had like all summer travel, vacations, things like that. So I have somewhat limited time to work on the competitor. So and there was some features which the app couldn't go out without, and some of the features which was kind of could be added later or couldn't be added at all because of the new app is built on different tool set completely. So
Mm.
and yeah, so I basically had no choice to release it, and like I pulled the plug in end of August for the new app. The app got very bad reviews in app stores, like horrible. People been saying like app is total crap. It's ugly. Nothing works. Everything is removed, and you name it. Like people, the and you get that a lot when you in a software industry. When you put a new stuff, people completely ignore it, and the app has a support section. By the way, click it on the right corner. You will see the about button in yeah, and in the bottom one, the last item in the menu.
What's that?
Last item in that menu about.
Yeah, down here.
Yeah, yeah. Just click on it. It's not gonna hurt you. So it shows you a little information. Well, it didn't look that right. Are you on Android
No, this is
emulate?
no, this is Apple.
Oh, Apple. Or you transcribing your screen, uh, broadcasting your screen from Apple device, iPad.
No, this is actually on my Mac.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
weird. Weird. I don't get that same screen, but it's a
Oh,
little
you
scrambled.
don't?
You should have reported it to me. Anyway, so people instead of reporting bugs or issues or any glitches like that, even like that, to email which you see on that screen, they go to
Yeah.
App Store and post app reviews. Nothing works. The problem is that I don't know. I cannot actually get any technical details, any specifics from those reports out of those people. Uh,
Okay.
can you go back now, or you have to kill the app?
I think I
Actually,
may have to go.
you see there is a corner of arrow if on the left corner. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to look at it, like, or we need to chat after
It's
what's up.
it's
Because
it's
I
Mac.
well, I'm running it on the Mac, so I don't see the same thing. Anyway, so instead of like reporting bug reports to support, people go to App Store and put like emotional comments. Nothing works. So, and I posted maybe a couple updates, and then things started to settle down. So people just got a grip of what functionality in. Like I've got maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 emails like where things are. People asking like what you do, like how you find things, and like where things go, or why are they not there anymore.
Okay.
And there have been few people who send me email, I answer it, and they say, "Oh, sorry, I already figured it out." So they had that emotional rush to kind of uh, 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 trash talking, right, or trash posting anywhere like Reddit, App Store reviews, or what's not, and then they start using the app and they start figuring out things. And you know, the app was out for some people 8 years. People got used where things are, so they have. Those reflexes, they have body mechanics built
Mm.
into them, like they know where to tap to. And now there is slight difference, not a lot of difference, but there are some differences, of course. Yeah, so it takes some getting used to. So,
Mm.
and for some people it's been probably too much. Some people figure it out. I asked like, okay, uh, Eric Graffel put it mildly, had how he said, the new app is less friendly. That was his statement.
Oh, did he say how though?
Well, I still have to talk to him about that.
Okay.
Well, get the details and address some comments and what's not. But yeah, since first releases, so that's probably I put, I don't know, uh, 4 5 updates, app updates since the first release, maybe more even. Like almost every week there was app update which fixed a few things, added couple missing things, or added new. There's already new stuff become available which wasn't in the old app at all. So
Okay.
that's been alright, I think, but we are kind of getting there, and I'm ready to actually bring new things, new features into new apps in much more rapid pace.
Interesting. Okay. What's the number one requested thing to be added to it?
Uh, well, that's like very good question. But before I answer that, I want to make a statement. One statement.
Okay.
And I touched based on it, and you actually had a good. Um, you already sort of semi answered it. One time a payment is not sustainable, unfortunately.
I
So,
get it.
and it does not motivate me that well to jump on and do things quicker. So sometimes I just tell on things like I leave it up. I leave it alone. Like sometimes if I get busy, it might be put aside for like, I don't know, months or few months until like immediate need comes in. And by immediate needs, because of that one time payment, my own needs are priority. I'm
Right.
I'm a I'm a like no, I'm initial user of that app, and I'm like primary user of that app, if you will, in a sense, because the app grown out of my own needs, and it grown to some extent. It grown from understanding of competitor wanted or needed, actually, not wanted, needed.
Right.
And now the app in a position, then the competitor already grown through that, and their needs are kind of increased.
Okay.
And is because they need an increase, the wants are also increased, and there is a substantial difference between what they want and what they actually need.
Right.
There is some
Always.
And the want part is usually associated with certain emotional attachment or to certain things, or like, or lack of them, right? So I'm a bad guy because they not getting what they want,
Okay.
but I'm because I'm not getting giving them what they want because a that's not what I needed, and also I cannot um, uh, don't have a time to give them what they want. I can only have time, so much time, and it's maybe uh, enough to give them what they need,
Right.
or at least uh, keep them at the level when they can live with, or at least they can operate with. Like, you know what I mean, right? So said that, I most likely will have to introduce some paid features into the app. So there are almost certainly there are going to be app subscription,
Okay.
uh, but the basic functionality in the app going to stay in as is. What you see now, what you can access now, it's going to be available for one-time payment,
Okay.
uh, and some of the new app features will be under subscription paywall. I'm not planning to put like big numbers. Like, I don't know, if you go to any gym app or exercise app or sporting app, they want you to pay like, I don't know, $70 a year at least. Some of them pay For some of them you're paying like $60 a month or something.
Right.
Mm.
That's a big
Powerlifting app,
number.
for instance, right? So I'm not there. I don't want people money. I want motivation, and I want people to, if people find the app useful, and they find some features of the app useful, it means those features worth something to them. If they can live without those features, it's a luxury. But then again, like, people pay for luxury. Like, instead of going to, I don't know, low end coffee shop, you go to Starbucks, or you go to craft coffee shop because you like their coffee more and you can
Right.
afford, as opposed to brewing like, what's the Costco coffee, or what's not, at home,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is probably 10 times cheaper, but maybe it's either taste crappier, or it doesn't give you the same experience socially, or I don't know, whatever. You just like to get a craft coffee to feel fancy, like you can afford it, you willing to pay for it, why not, right? So that's
It's like
why.
you want gas station coffee or do you want Starbucks coffee? You pay whatever you want.
There you go, right? So you
Yeah.
making your choices, right? So, and I'm not forcing anyone to buy their app. They don't like it, okay? So don't buy it. Unfortunately, if they bought it, and I'm not paying or collecting money directly, so if they wanna refund for their app, they also have to go through App Store. So the like, I cannot really even issue refunds for the app, because everything goes through the App Store. So they have probably few hours, maybe days window when they can request a refund from App Store, and it will be processed. May sometimes longer time, but that's between the buyer purchaser of the app and the App Store, right? So I'm like on an end, all right? So after App Store collected money, remove their chunk of that part, because it also takes substantial part of the proceeds. And then at the end of the month, they maybe pay me, maybe. uh, yeah, Apple was holding money for a year, I think, for some reason. I forgot what was that, like few years back.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, like I said, it's not like my life depends on that stuff, right? So like, okay, I get the
Right.
money. It's a bonus for me. Like, it's a nice thing. It gives me motivation to work more on this stuff. But given that we are nearly plateaued, how many users we're gonna get in the app? um, my motivation is kind of going down
Right.
like I don't have any feedback. And happy users, they don't tell you anything. They are happy. They like, why are we even tell them something, right? So like I don't have any visibility. So the only motivation I can see that my work, so I would introduce a small subscription, and I'm talking about few bucks, really. Like again, we're talking about a cup of coffee maybe a year, or around that average, maybe 2 cup of coffees a year. Can you afford it? Most people can afford it. Like most shooters, most certainly can afford it if they can afford ammo to shoot all those matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they don't feel like paying for that, that's obviously their choice, and I'm not in a position to push them to change that. They might not like it, but they don't have features to that. But then that's their choice. So anyway, so subscription, it will be introduced in the coming months, maybe even weeks, when I'll have time to work on the stuff. Because there are some technical challenges, of course, with that. So that would allow people to even support me, even just as a, giving me $2 not gonna make any difference for most people, but it give me a token of recognition that people are actually supporting my work, and willing. Because if they bought my app 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't know if they still care about it, right? If they
Are they
could
even
be,
still using it? Are they even still shooting?
well, I do, well, some of them not shooting, obviously, but I can see that some people are using. But again, like if, after having five things for 5 years, people start taking them for granted. But
Hmm.
taking things for granted, they don't realize there is still work has to be done. Like for example, USPSA updates their classification or divisions or classifier stages every year. Someone has to make that work to make that data available to people outside of USPSA, because USPSA doesn't care. And again, they it's not their domain to have that stuff in the competitor app. Same for IDPA, same for iCore, same for IPSIC to some extent, and what's not. Like new division was introduced at the IPSIC World Shoot just last week. It comes in effect in beginning of 2006. But what it means, all rule books for IPSIC gonna be updated. And we do need to update practice core. We do need to make updates in practice core to um, kind of keep to be in sync and be up to date with all those rules. And unlike USPSA, IPSIC actually has six disciplines, like because handgun, shotgun, rifle, mini rifle, PCC, airsoft, each of them is a different discipline, different match type. It has its own rules. Well, they're similar, but there are some differences. It has their own divisions, and what's not. So there are lots of kind of tiny details people don't even pay attention to, or realize that they need to be kept up to date. So someone have to do that work. Like in most cases, that's me, because
Mm.
if because practice core was created in USPSA, it was nearly like USPSA only for first several years at least, and then I started working on it, and I pushed Ken to get IPSIC stuff in. So we got like proper support of IPSIC, which has different rules, different divisions, and what's not. So we got IPSIC support to that, and then IDPA came along, still challenge, and what's not. Like now we have nearly like 50 variants of various shooting sports, or not. So yeah,
That's a lot of
but
work.
well, yeah, and unfortunately, when practice core updated, the competitor app also need to be kept in sync. Like I said, like it was lacking for 9 months because certain shooting sports wasn't being supported in a old competitor app, and I couldn't do the old app updates because like the old tools that those apps been built for, they wasn't working anymore. Apple make updates, Google make updates. Those tools become obsolete. Like you need to be on top of the things. Like you keep to have you have to keep things updated, and otherwise your app just going to be removed from App Store for violating their policy. Like Google requires you to update their tools and republish app at least a year, once a year. That's like a mandatory requirement.
Now, Apple just underwent a big operating system update across the board. You know, their iOS, their because I have an iPhone, I have an iPad, and I have a Mac. They all just got updated.
Yeah.
How much work is it for you to then have to update the app to make sure that it works on that new operating system?
Well, it depends. It depends. Sometimes it could be days. Sometimes it could be weeks. Sometimes there are other limits. But luckily, we are not required to jump on it until I forgot March of next year or March of next after a year after next. So they tend to support give you like uh, I may ignore it maybe for another half a year at least, that update. Maybe
Oh,
more,
okay.
maybe more. So, but yeah, eventually I would have to do that. But the funny part about Mac or Apple, uh, for some of their upgrades, software upgrades, you actually have to buy a new computer. The Apple is the only software company which does that. So their new tools, they don't work on old computers.
Yeah, there is a whole generation that they don't support anymore.
Well, the generation of devices, yes, but if your computer is still up and running, you cannot get like new compilers or new development tools on that because that
Mm,
or actually new Mac OS. You cannot install new Mac OS on that old computer, but the new development tools requires a new version of Mac OS. That's the only
gotcha.
software company does that. Like nothing is enterprise, no Linux, no Java, no Android stuff. They do anything like that or remotely close to that. So Apple is the only company that requires you to actually buy a new computer to be able to develop new apps for their app store for phones, for tablets, and what's not. Well, admittedly, that only happens maybe 5, 7 years, but still.
Right. Okay.
I had to do it once at least. Already, I had to do that through. I have to go through that at least once. So going back to the feature, and I deviated a lot. Like I told you before, like I can go on forever on.
Right.
So most requested feature is tracking competitors' progress. It's the most requested feature. And what it means is people want to see their results across matches.
Okay, so let's say I'm shooting 30 matches this year. I want to be able to track how I've done in each match. Interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the feature. I kind of have it in the prototype. I'm using it for my stuff. Some people finding a way around it to do that. It's actually possible to some extent in scoring up. It takes a lot of effort though. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing that manually. But having that in a competitor app going to be a game changer, and paying a couple bucks for that, I think it's totally worth it. it
Okay.
would be it would be worse for me if I wouldn't have to put, I don't know, hundreds of hours of my time to make it work. Yeah, I probably would be willing to pay a couple bucks for someone else to do that.
Right.
And having it in your pocket and offline, that's wow.
Right. Anytime you could just look
Well,
at it and
that's how it looks to me, right? So whether people gonna want it or willing to have it, different story. But that's my sort of short-term plan. Like that's where my priorities are.
okay. So then that brings up another question. So like let's say we got Christian here, and let's say I want to compare Christian and Mike Wang here at the World Shoot. But let's say I'm Christian Seiler and I'm tracking my progress across the whole year. Can I then compare myself to someone else across the whole year?
That's the
Yes.
that's the plan. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Well, there are some other features which probably come along. For example, you are running. I see you running. Uh, how to say, internal release of the competitor app. That icon next to search your cursor is on is uh, experimental prototype feature, like the that clock kind of thing next to your
Right here.
cursor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not gonna do you much good for this match because this match is not based on practice core data. You can still click on it. It's not gonna probably fall apart. I hope. Yeah. What it shows you the history of uh, of results. Like technically, the top score is the latest score that's been entered in the system, and then all the way down. Like it shows you history for this kind of slicing. It's 100 last results. You can go down 100.
Oh,
For
wow.
for IPSC World match, though, it doesn't matter. If you look at there is a time under each score, right? So 2025,
Yeah.
841. All times are the same.
841. Yeah.
All times are the same because IPSC doesn't post information when score was entered. You don't know what the what was the time when the stage score was updated or added.
Oh, okay.
So what
Well,
I see here it's when I pulled that data in for all the matches. But if you look at the practice core match, like let's say IPSC Nations,
all
yeah,
right. So here's area 3.
hmm,
So if I were to click on this,
yeah,
16, 16, 16, 14, 16, 13. That's what you're talking about.
hmm,
Wow. Okay. And then
and
you could
now
scroll all the way down to the very first score.
no, only 100 last ones.
Oh, last 100. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for the overall, you don't really need that all of them. Seriously,
No, I mean,
like
I don't know
every,
that I need any, but
but
okay.
let me explain why this feature is there. And again, that like this is kind of preview, and you seeing it because you're running internal build, like you're running internal release of the app, like
Right. That's your fault too.
well, I send you that link specifically for that feature, and
Okay.
you didn't put it in at the time when I send you, but uh, the thing is, practice core, unlike most of the systems, it has basically there are two ways match results are getting to competitors. When the match director or stats goes in and posts results to practice core website, that's a classic way, like it's been working like that. But that only happens when they proactively post result, right? So
Okay.
then it will be available to everyone. And Practice Score competitor app can search them, or you can go to search on the Practice Score website and find those results, unless they're hidden or password protected. There's a different story. Um, but if they don't do that, and they only did that, I don't know, last night, how do you see results in today? Like since this morning until like what is it, 3 o'clock right now? 4. So there are score logs. So when the score logs facility is enabled in Practice Score, and for that, scoring tablets have to have internet connection. Then that scoring tablet is posting your score from a stage to Practice Score website. And competitor app is able to pull that stuff in. And your turnaround is about a minute, maybe less.
And as I understand it, the moment you hit, once it's connected to the internet and they've already pushed scores once, as
Well,
soon as you hit accept,
it has to be enabled, and
right?
link like the match need to enable that explicitly. That's again like stats have to do that. But once it's in the scoring tablet, as soon as you push approve, it goes out. And if when you refresh button, and specifically for that, you see the refresh button is right on that timeline pop up
Yes,
on the
right here.
and yeah, you can push it right there. If there are new score logs been pushed, it's gonna show them up here. Well, you're
Uh,
not gonna see that. Oh, area 3 match is happening. I see. Okay,
it
so
did.
you,
Yeah. It's actually
you're
going
looking
on right now.
you're looking at the. Oh, right, I forgot. So you're looking at the live results right now, which are
Yeah. Cause
419. You see,
right now
and
he was
yeah,
at the top. Now there's
right.
been, since we started talking, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
Yeah,
different pushes.
and basically you can see. Okay, so Robert Merkel just shot stage 14, and he's on a squad 309. So
Yep.
what you can do now, you can go and switch to stage 14 results and click this guy, yeah, and now click on the same timeline window icon up there. It shows you
Oh,
next shooters in line.
okay.
Well, it might not be completely accurate because the order of competitors on a tablet could be slightly different, but it gives you idea of coming shooters. And also this one is only show you results, history of results for stage 14. You can see what's the pace on that stage. There's like probably 3 minutes, 2 minutes, yeah, 5 minutes actually between shooters.
Between shooters, yeah, it's 4, 3, 2,
Yeah,
3, 3. Okay.
yeah. So you can guess. Okay, so you're gonna see Queen Cunningham result in about 3 minutes after
Robert
419,
Merkel.
which,
Yeah.
which no, after Robert,
So maybe in one more minute.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that
So
that's
where this would help me is if I'm live streaming about race gun nationals coming up next month and I'm watching a super squad and I'm like, oh, Nils just shot, Mason is next, then I know, oh, I have about one more minute and Mason's score should post.
yeah, and not only it shows you that they posted, you also see the scores on that they shot on the stage. You see, like
Right.
that. It's maybe a little bit to say the font is a little small, but you can increase it. Are you on a touchpad? You can probably do like
Whoop.
squeeze out on that window. You could increase.
I don't know. Well,
Oh,
on Yeah, maybe on the iPad or my phone.
No, no. On a Mac, you can just do like a squeeze with two fingers, a squeeze out, like a zoom in, zoom out gesture, two finger gesture.
Yeah, mine's not touchscreen.
No, not touch screen, on touchpad. Do you have a touchpad on your Mac?
I do.
So close this. Close
Oh,
this.
looky there. You're smarter with my Mac than I am.
Yeah. Well, that's a feature a lot of people complained about. The font was either too big or too small, so I made this option. That wasn't in Practice Core One, Competitor One, but it's Practice Core Competitor Two allows you to zoom in on the font, and after that the font on the main screen also going to increase.
Yeah,
Uh,
it did.
well, if you close that pop-up, it will show you the. Oh no. Well, maybe you have to do that again up here, and then it will go backwards.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Well, you can play with it. So, and
Okay.
also each entry on that, if you do like a long tap or long click on each of the competitors, or any competitors, yeah, it shows you on the right side. There is a menu. You can jump to
Ah,
page info. You can get like uh, their split information. Obviously, for score logs, they don't have timer splits information. That's only going to be available when the match results are posted. But we are working on maybe changing that. I don't know how much time um, it would require for that thing to be implemented in practice core. It affects because it involves scoring app, it involves website and the competitor app. Like all three things need to be changed to support that. We kind of have it in a scoring app. Well, not kind of. We have it in a scoring app, but to get it live through the scoring log and then get those live updates takes some work. Not a lot of work, but it's people's time. So need
okay.
to be coordinated. So there is work on that. Uh, and yeah, that log feature, like the timeline feature, probably also gonna go under the one of the paid features for the people. I'm still considering the name for this. Is like a pro shooter subscription or benefactor subscription for the app or whatever, which means you are supporting or you are really in shooting sports and you want more information than average Joe shooter. Yeah, then those timeline feature could be interesting for you. So if you're watching someone else score, or you just a nerd as I am, I want to look at the graphel or I don't know your favorite shooter in US like Christian Sailor or what's not. Like you can um, um, you can use that feature a lot. So it's probably going to go under one of the paid features.
Okay.
Uh, or at least that's my like current feeling. Like you're seeing it because it's you get like a preview of preview release of that stuff. So and it would be useful for your work if that happens. So you could I think and again like when you on that timeline view, for example, if you pull it in right now, it shows you last shooter. So you can click on that Robert Merkel as well. And it brings you to comparison right away. You can see where the guy is, right?
Right. What he's
So
completed.
yeah, and you can see his overall. I'm still working through some features. So like right now, it only shows you the stage results. I might drag in the overall match and maybe even it would take little more, but there is theoretically there is enough information to tell the diff, like how much his last stage run changed his position in a match.
Really?
Well, there is like it might take some effort, but there is it's doable.
Oh,
So
okay. Then let me ask you this then. I mean, if you can figure that out and put that in the app, Could you not then put in the app, let's say somebody's getting really good, they can threaten to win or podium at an area match. We'll just keep using area 3 here. But they
Mhm.
haven't quite got down the whole hit factor math thing yet. Is there a way to program it in there where they have one stage left, they're currently in fifth? What do they need to do to be able to get to third? Like what hit factor do they need? How many points do they need to make up? That type of thing.
Yeah, that's a great question actually, and the answer is yes, it's there.
Oh,
It's
that's now a 2 cup of Starbucks coffee subscription.
no, actually, that feature is already you have it for
What?
in the app right away. Yes. So if you just scroll up or click that person with an X
Yep.
button.
Okay.
So you looking at combined results right now, just plain
Correct.
combined. Like Lane Grace is leading the match, but he is leading the match because he probably shot all the stages and what's not, right? So it looks like
Right.
so you're looking at absolute overall standing for the
Right.
match, but that's not what it doesn't give you a feel like what lane gonna end up at the end of the match because lots of people haven't shot or lots of people maybe shot part of the match and maybe top shooter only shot part of the match so you don't know so the competitor from nearly from very beginning it has this option it's I forgot it called initially it was called projected results. Last rename was
Is it the
called
high available?
high available. Yes, and
Right.
high available results. Actually, see, lane is good enough to stay on top still. What high available does is it basically takes all the stages you shot and they probably done that because it looks like that way because area 3 may be done for the day or nearly done for the day and they doing one the match is one day match is it i
Yeah,
i,
I
I
don't remember the format.
I don't remember, but you see, if that's the case, you don't have incomplete scores right now in a match, which means the actual algorithm doesn't really kicks in. But what it does, it um, uh, takes the scores or points you got for stages you shot, and then it adds points for stages still available to you.
Right.
So that's why it's called high available. But to
Right.
make result a little bit more realistic, so that's how it was initially. But then again, the end result was ranking of very top shooters only because no one shots 100 points on every stage, right? So like you normally
Correct.
lose something, and we don't have that information to guess like how good you're gonna shoot the stages you haven't shot yet.
Correct.
So what I started doing, and some people liked it, some people didn't like it, but I think it gives, for average people, it gives good representation of their ranking. It may be not gonna give great representation for very top shooter, like for instance, Max Leograndis was big opponent of this feature. But for people below him, it's gives a more realistic representation where they're gonna land at the end. So what I do, I take stages you shot and look how many points you lost on those stages.
Right. You take an
Average,
average.
average them, and
Okay.
adjust the points available by that average. So I know you
Okay.
losing average. In average, you lost on the previous stage. You lost 10% of points. And you have 100 points still available to you just for the sake of word so okay so you're not going to get 100 points unlikely you're going to get 100 points most likely you're going to get something around 90 points
Right.
and that's what I put in That's what I add those 90 points to you, to the points you already uh, received in a match, already shot, and that would be your number of points in a standing you're looking at right now. So
Right. Your
it's
projected finish.
yeah, it's ranking them not by the points you already shot, but by the high available points, adjusted high available points. And I found that those results are working very well when matches like, for instance, for IPSC Nationals in August, right? I
Okay.
took a screenshot of projected results. I forgot what was the like at the end of day two. Yeah, it was 3 day match. So I took a
Mm-hmm.
screenshot at the end of day two. Well, the final was nearly identical to that. Nearly. Like he started deviating maybe, I forgot which shooter, like fifth, sixth, something like that. But the top was pretty much decided after the first match. So now, to answer your question, so when you are looking at two top shooters, you see, if you look at the number of points, well, right now, okay, so number three is have an unfinished match. It has 3 stages out of 17. So his chance, if he continues shooting as he is shooting with losing in average 12 points per stage, he has a good shot at being third at 99%. Right, Jack Hatton.
Okay.
Right. So, and if you look at it, so at that pace, his maximum achievable points minus his average gonna be 1389, right? And the guy above him has 1400 points. So he need to gain 11 points to be a second on him.
Okay. I see.
So
So
that would be answer to your question, like how far you need to push. So
I see what you're saying. So he's only, in this case, he's only shot what, 3 stages.
three stages,
So he
yeah,
has 14 stages to go, and he needs to pick up one
11 points,
point per stage.
kinda, yeah.
And then that would put him at 1403, which would then put him into first, actually.
Well, you that
Something
that
like that.
that's hypothetical because that doesn't
Correct.
take that doesn't take that assumes the stage scores stays the same, and no one gonna be besting the current stage scores, and that's usually not the case. Like sometimes people just shoot better, and then it
Right.
drops everyone, even the top two who completed the
Right.
match, they drop in scores. But that could work either like, or for instance, Jack could actually beat on the stages. I didn't look like Lane or Andrea how they shot individual stages. If Jack beats them on one of the stages, or maybe they didn't win any of the stages, and Jack actually beats them on any of those stages, he still have to shoot, but he doesn't have to win even. He doesn't even have to win those stages. All he needs to do is to shoot better than those other two guys on those stages.
Right. And then
So
he
and
can look at the stages where he has the best opportunity to
yeah,
make up
so
some points.
for example, let's click on him. Like
Ha-
bring him into
Jack.
comparison. Yeah, just bring Jack into comparison
Okay.
now. So his next stage gonna be 13 most probably, right? So if you scroll down to 13, uh, so yeah, you see on the green font up there on stage 13, he doesn't have a result, but
Right.
that stage already tells you. So you need to shoot that stage with about 566 all alpha to get uh, to get 100% at that stage.
Oh, right, right, right. I gotcha. Okay.
So that max time is 566. That's all alpha time, and each Charlie gonna cost him zero point zero 0.09 seconds,
Okay.
and Mike gonna cost second
One.
42.
Yeah, almost a second and a half of time.
Yeah, and no shoot cost point zero 0.04. So,
1 second.
so
Yeah.
looking at that information, you're already kind of getting an idea like how fast you need to shoot that stage. Or he can shoot faster. Let's say if he shoots it in 4 seconds, he can afford few Charlies.
Right.
Or even if he shoots it faster than 556, he already can allow himself to shoot some Charlies. But if he's shooting slower, I don't know, he's he fast shooter or slow shooter, like you can adjust this to your own abilities. You know what's your strong and weak skills are, right? So you can already start planning for your stage. Okay, so whether it works to make a make-up shot on this stage or not. Like
Right.
1 second, I would say it's still good to do make-up shots, but make alphas in that case. So if you shot a Charlie, you called it pull trigger again. 0.1 second is normally at the age of split time, right? Or actually a bit below split time for this kind of stuff. So that's kind of information was already been presented. I mean, been available in app like for 7 years. And the competitor app was the first one where you could actually see that. This kind of analysis is actually kicking in during the match, not looking at the scores after the fact. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But here's the thing, Eugene. I never looked at it like that. So you explaining this now it makes a whole lot of sense because I'm going to say I'm Jack Hatton. If I'm going in, if I'm Jack Hatton, I'm like, you know what? This is a good stage for me. It fits my strengths.
Hmm.
The maximum time 5.66 with all alphas. Okay, if I shoot it in 5, which I feel like I
Hmm.
can still have 7 Charlies and
Well,
end up with and
maybe not exactly that, but yeah, like you
but you
could
know what I mean.
still.
But my that would basically make my time 5.63,
Hmm.
and I could still win the stage. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I had never looked at that. I had never looked at this like that. That is for me. That's new. So that's a very interesting way of being able to go.
But
Oh,
it's been there for 8 years for Android and maybe a little less for Apple. It's
well,
right
and
in front of your eyes. As soon as you had people in a comparison in incomplete stage, admittedly, not a lot of people actually looking at the interim results of the match. And when we have practice score with the live score logs coming through, you get those updates like you see how you basically jump in and up and down during your after each of your run. And also do a long click on that stage 13. It should bring you menu and click stage info. Yeah, it only shows you the that recommendations, time recommendations. If you go do the same for his previous result,
say that again.
like go back, open stage 12. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
same thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I see. It shows you kind of little more information. So it shows you 4 point lost. 4 points was lost on that stage. He shot it at 96%. So now his actual score was 20 alpha to Charlie, 18 seconds. Uh, he could have shot it. The no, it doesn't look right. Uh, oh yeah, so giving the same time, if he shot all alphas, 22 alphas, he would have had 6.1 hit factor on that. So percentage is kind of off. I think
Right,
it's
right
it's
here.
yeah. So you see, shooting all alphas, it would have increased his hit factor by 0.2. And looking at actual his actual results, mm, by shooting those two Charlies, he added 0.33 seconds to his time. Well, virtually, right?
Right.
That red penalty is a time equivalent of those two Charlies.
Okay. All right. So that actually pushes his time from 1803 to 1836 with all alphas, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay.
you now how you can use that information? Let's say there is a swinger, right?
There's
And
a
a swinger on the stage, and you normally know what time it takes to swinger do the full swing, like basically
right.
time between appearances. And
Right.
if that time is 2 seconds, and you call it a mic which costs 1.5 seconds on a swinger, you shouldn't be waiting for second swing even if you took the mic. You only making your score worse.
Right. Hmm.
And there is a
Okay.
whole same thing about disappearing targets and calling shooting steel plate, which is like 30 meters away. Like how many times you're gonna shoot? Like it's all in those numbers actually. Like you know your
Right.
split time 5 seconds. Your mic on that plate is 1.5 seconds for a given stage hit factor, and 1.5 is probably for reasonably like medium hit factor stage. So you only got like what 3 shots, and after that you actually 2 shots at that plate, and after that might actually cost you less than what you're spending on that stage.
Right.
So if you cannot shoot that plate, okay, it's actually, well, it sucks. It's like you can't. But standing and spending like two more marks on that plate you cannot hit, it just doesn't do you any good, except like, oh, okay, you hit that plate at the end, like it's a relief. But then you're still frustrated because you spent two magazines,
Right.
wasted so much ammo, you're still frustrated, and you made your score 10 times worse. Just by shooting less you actually improve, even if you're not a great shooter, by shooting less you improve in your score. That's the kind of thinking, like somewhat unorthodox thinking, but those numbers actually show you that
Right.
visually.
Right. I got you. Yeah, it'll actually tell you what you can and can't do and what you should and should not do.
Well, in most cases you shouldn't anyway. but
Well,
like
I
I said,
mean,
but
I know
like I
you
said, if you have a full open target and you have a mic and you called it, like those numbers
leave it.
gonna tell you have to shoot it if it's a full target nearby. But if it's far target and your split is 0.6 0.5 on that target, you only got like what 2 shots extra at most, in most cases, unless it's really low hit factor stage. Like I've seen stages which are around one hit factor, like if everything is partial and what's not, and far, and people starting to aim, right?
Right.
Then you need extra shots to get your points in, or if you can call them. But like it's it's kind of a play. Like you have to look at the numbers. The app actually, and instead of guessing, like people do that. You like lots of top competitors do that math anyway, but they do that based on hit factor right away. Okay, so they know 5 points per hit factor is 5 points per second. The mic is 15 points. You get roughly what 3 seconds to deal with that mic, right? So, but again, like lots of times those numbers are not that even, and 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 and
Right.
and, and just to do those calculations, and again adjust them to your time. That on top of that, you can actually enter your score ahead of time into the app. Nothing stops you to go edit, put a time that you think you're gonna shoot in, put some scores in, like that reflects your ability, and that would give you an estimate how you gonna land in there, or at least like what's your uh, like ideal run or worst case run gonna be. And sometimes you can actually it's beneficial to play with it, like for instance, if it's disappearing target and you need to run through scenarios, is it worth to shoot it or not, and
Right.
you don't even have to guess on those numbers. You can just punch in, okay, so if I didn't shoot that disappearing target, it saves me a second, but minus 10 points per se if you hit alphas, and you might not be because it's moving target, right? um, and you can play with those numbers and look at the hit factors in the app before you shoot, and that could basically give you a much more educated guess, or much more uh, much better idea what's the better game plan for that given stage for you personally.
Right. Right. I
So
mean,
and
even if
if you break it down to the basics, like like if you shooting somewhere like, I don't know, MGM level, you already know what your draw time is, what your splits are on any given
right.
target, like a given distance. You know what your average hits are, and you can actually punch those numbers in, do the math. Like the app doesn't do that for you. Well, I'm thinking maybe it should, but there are a lot
That's
of
3 cups of coffee.
well, there are lots of unknown, right? Like when you look at the results, you actually don't know. Like maybe when you see the three targets and scores, like are those three targets th- three targets stapled, full size targets stapled to the same target stand within 5 yards from you, or they they like IPSC targets. You shoot at one target and you have to run 10 yards to get to the second one, which is going to be partial, and then you run another 10 yards to third targets. Two different stages, but in scores they look the same until you start looking at hit factors. But again, like there is not enough information about that running moving part or anything like that, So that's why we cannot do that magic to tell you what you do. But you can do that with stopwatch when you do a walkthrough,
Right.
and you actually can get your um, the time which would be more likely for you.
So are there any other um major changes with the app when you did the big update?
Um, well, the whole all functionality is pretty much there. It's maybe got hidden behind slightly different navigation. Like for instance, some people got lost when on Android they didn't see the three dot menu buttons on every competitor row, or on every entry. Like on the right side for Android, there used to be like three dots menu, so people got used to tapping it. Now it's a long
Right.
tap, and it's a long tap. But long tap was
Mm,
always on a thing on iOS. So it was less of a hurdle to iOS. Although yesterday I find out like lots of people, instead of long tabs, on iOS they used to swipe left, and there was like menu hidden under swipe on iOS, and so it's a swipe and then tap, and that's same menu. Well, long tap is faster in that regard, like when you're navigating up on a phone or on a tablet. Um, so for Android users, they didn't like it, but I think it's, well, the lack of those three dots menus, and on a big tablet or on a big screen like that, it probably worse to add those three dots menu. You can click on it, it's visual, you see them, and what's not. On a phone, on a narrow phone screen, just not enough room to put those dots in. the
right.
the finger itself is like a big tapping area, like which has to
Yeah.
basically uh, allow you to put the entire finger, and there is not no information on that empty area but those three dots. That's why I kind of took them away, and Android users like freaked out. Like, well, some of them, right? So they like feature removed. Like, where is all the menus? So long tap. So the app actually now started to show you the app showcase. You can basically click through it. It shows you which what you can do, what where to tap to, where to long tap to, swipe, and what's not. So another thing for comparing people got used, like on the screen you're looking at, there used to be a big red plus button at the bottom right corner that people been using to add competitors to comparison. But after 5 years of using it, I never touched that button. It was just covering some information on the screen for me.
Right.
So in the new app, I removed it, and again, like people freaked out, like how we compare multiple people. But you know what? When you tap on a name, like you tap on a Joe Weisel, for instance, it bring it you just click on it. Yeah, so brings competitor. But when you tap on his name again,
Yep.
sorry, the red button was actually on the previous screen. So that screen you're looking at right now, that's where your red button was bringing you. So, like, what's the difference? Okay, no button is not covering screen, so you can tap on Colin Maxwell again, or you can tap. Okay, so you want to see who won stage two, and add this guy to comparison. You can click on that non-result on stage two right now, and you see, okay, Andrew Desatel won the stage. You can add him to comparison by clicking it. So that give you already a kind of better experience than clicking
Wow.
on plus red button, because red button was always showing you the overall results. Now you can cherry pick which stage you wanna see. Or for instance, like you see that Andrew got 40% on stage one. Like my reaction when I look around matches, like, oh, the guy did well on stage two. Who beat him on stage one? That would be my reaction. So you click on his name on stage one, and you can grab the top guy on from stage one this way. So
Goodness gracious. You can just keep adding people.
yeah, you can add, like, I don't know. There's no limit really. Like you can add as many. The only issue that the bars at the top get narrower, and would be hard to follow. So I'm still looking how to, like, maybe zoom out on the chart so you can watch it. And another thing that people didn't like, there used to be possible when you click on a bar on that chart. It was it was opening that stage info screen we looked at before, where those penalties and time equivalent and
Right.
uh, time a hits only hit factor was showing, and so on. Like this, the split time was also on that screen, by the way. If you have a timer, like if you right click on long click on that Andrews results on stage one, green one on stage one, right click on them.
Up here?
Stage one, down the screen.
Duh.
Yeah, whereas 40 plays 72% down, down. Here, no, next one, next one. You see,
So,
there's a timer on the right side,
oh, yeah. Okay. Right there.
which means that scoring entry has split times from connected Bluetooth timer. So if you right click, long click on this guy right now, so go to stage info. You see, it shows you splits up here. So
Wow.
yeah, but that's kind of basic stuff, so it's been there forever. uh, but the old app allowed you to click on that bar chart on the stage to jump on that screen. So
Mm.
there is no no such navigation in the new app. I removed it, and I'm still thinking what to do with it. The problem is that when you have a large match with 13 stages, 17 stages like that, and you add three people to comparison, well, you're looking at a large white screen. On the phone, those those bars about I
Yeah,
don't
they're
know.
close together. Yeah.
Yeah, like you cannot really hit the right one. So I removed it. And again, people freaked out because they didn't know that stage info was available from the menu on the score.
Right.
Yeah, and the same way actually. Oh, there is no link to charts from here. Well, I need to add it back. But if you go back, the time there is a chart. If you right click and there is a time chart, there is also time chart
Up
entry
here?
on the same no on the same.
Oh, down here.
Yeah, if you right, long click on it, there's time chart. Yeah, so it shows you that that visual presentation of his splits. And
S-
if more people had the times, you could actually compare them side by side on this. In your selection of shooters, only one guy has split information.
Now, does this mean he oh, is this 33 shots then?
That's what timer registered. Yes.
Okay. So
So
chances are he shot a makeup. He fired a makeup shot.
well, look at it. He had a mic, and scoring wise, it was 30, 30 hits. Uh, 30 hits was required for the stage, looking at the number of points. 26 plus 3 plus 1, 40. And so he made actually 3 extra. Or
Oh yeah.
time, or timer registered 3 extra, because there could be echo, and sometimes timers don't configure exactly right. uh,
Well, yeah, it's 150 points, so it's 30. It's a 30
mhm,
round stage. So okay.
yeah.
I thought it was interesting too. Let me. Oh wow.
Oh, that doesn't look right either.
No.
I need to look at that. Yeah, it's no one reported that before. Yeah. It shows you little pop-up with split information and time information on each point there, but it's glitched.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Oh, I thought.
You see, when people find issues, they tend to go, like, I don't know, to complain in App Store or Reddit, or I don't know, Brian Eno's forum. Whether they should have just email support, send me a screenshot, like, or tell me which match you're looking at, and I can fix it in the next update within a week or so, or a few days, right? So if you don't report those things are broken, they're not gonna get fixed, or they're gonna get fixed when someone else report them, which might happen, like, I don't know, months or weeks or months from the point you
Now,
uh,
this
tell
is
them.
interesting because it tells you which timer was used.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Huh.
It does. Well, you
Now,
can also identify the timer itself. The code is it's not exactly unique, but it gives you some idea. So like, you can tell the same timer was used across multiple stages in a match.
right. I don't remember the state being here before. Was that new?
Uh, uh, it could have been before on Android, but not on iOS. So now it's
Oh, okay.
everywhere. But again, that information is there only if match has it.
Right.
Normally, when match has it, there could be, like, actually, I'm not even sure why match collected if they don't give trophies for the given state or something. That is informational, so they shouldn't have probably pulled that info in. So maybe it was collected for the sake of, I don't know, emailing trophies, or mailing trophies, or what's not, or just contacting info. But you know, yeah.
Okay.
uh, yeah, in most cases it does make difference. Sometimes people want to know which state. Like for instance, for state match there could be trophy for local shooters,
This
and
right.
for foreigners, and you can filter results by the state. And that's probably another interesting question. Like if you close this, yeah, click on the on remove all. So looking at all compare results, like pick carry optics, for instance. Um, if you want to look at category results, so there are at least two ways of looking at them. So you can also do long tab to actually open reports, similar to what like on any shooter. Just click long tab, and there are category results. Right?
Oh, okay.
Well,
Oh
it's
boy.
glitching out. Like it doesn't like
No, it doesn't
your,
like my
your,
Mac.
your, your computer somehow. I don't have that on the Mac either, so I don't know why it's glitching out. But yeah, I'll try to take a look at it. It's working properly on a phone and iPad as far as I know. If it doesn't, well, I need to know. Yeah, get out of here. There's another way. Like probably for you, it's bad idea to use it now because it's broken.
Okay.
But there is another way of getting it. Can you actually your keyboard is there? Like, can you press down button a couple times? Yeah, and now push Command F.
Command what?
Command F.
Okay. Command F.
Oh, okay. So keyboard navigation works. So you are in a search now. You see,
Yep.
so you can start typing. But that was just in case if you wanna use keyboard navigation, you can do. Yeah, that's not gonna work exactly like that. So it's well, or at least that could pick up some random results. So click X on the right side of that field, X, and then click button next to it. You see that? Yeah, this one. So now click category, and now you can scroll up and scroll up, okay, and click lady. So that's a quick way of get category result. Well, kind of semi-click, semi-quick. I
Okay.
still have to improve it. I'm thinking like to remember last few of your selections like this one, and kind of put them on the top so you don't have to do this double selection from when you click that selector thing. And good thing about it, now you can keep category lady category in, and you can jump between divisions by using those tabs. So you see Caryoptics Morgan is leading category lady category. Now you can check who is leading limited by just tapping here. Not very interested, I guess.
Well,
Limited 10, not
I hope
interested in.
I hope Jen wins.
Well, yeah.
Well, I would expect. Okay, so there's limited
Nice, like
optics.
you see, you can keep with a category and jump
Yeah,
across
and just
divisions.
go across the. Okay.
Yeah, you can do a quick pick that way. And the same kind of thing works for classes. Like if you know who to win to class, you can go like scrape the category from the top, go selection, or you can do that. Yeah, class from the list. Yeah, and then pick class you like I don't know, M for instance, G. Yeah, so those are top GM class, and you can look through divisions for those that way. Yeah, I'm thinking
Okay.
to make like a history, so it wouldn't you wouldn't have to go like twice through that stuff. It would be just last few entries, category, class, or whatever you picked before, like I don't know, 5, 6, 7 entries at the top, with the option to remove them from history or something like that, or they will just push out the older um, or the older selection. So that's one of the features which is on a list for the like regular wrap updates, not paid ones, how to say, quality of life improvements.
Okay. All right. That's I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Even though you said that one thing was glitching, it, the
Well, I think
as
I already saw like two or three things glitching on you, which I never saw before, and never
right,
been.
but I mean, it's on a Mac, and I don't know if the app really designed to work on the map or Mac. I
Uh,
mean,
well, not yes and no. Well, we need to probably talk offline about
okay,
what kind of market is and so on. Like I need more technical insight
I gotcha.
on exact what hardware and software you're running on. But generally, and that's an interesting part about the new competitor app. It is compatible with new Apple computers, like the ones that they equipped with their own processors, like M1, M2,
There's
M3, 4.
silicone. Yeah, I have the
Yeah.
M3.
Okay. Yeah. I'm developing on M1, so I'm a cheapskate comparing to you, or just had the computer longer than you are. Anyway, so what they did a few years back when they introduced their own silicon, like M1 chip was the first one that did. So all iPad and phone apps, they uh, they can run on macOS out of the box.
Okay.
Yeah, so they should work. So if well, there is a restriction, so developer should actually allow it. Well, technically, the idea is that you test it, you verify that it works, and that's it. But you already upgraded your Mac to latest Mac OS
Yeah,
level, so
I
that's
did.
most likely the reason why it's glitching. So because I'm running like two Mac OS versions behind that,
Okay,
two major Mac OS versions,
I
or
get that.
behind
Yeah,
that.
I just updated to the Tahoe, so the 26.
Right. So you are kind of on a bleeding edge, in a sense.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
What they say about those kind of updates, you should never upgrade on a first release. Like you should wait.
Yeah, I know.
You should wait for a few what they call dot releases, and when they removed all the glitches, all the bugs, and what's not, and then you upgrade. But then the problem with this macOS release as well, that the dev tools that I'm working on, they have no idea about this new stuff that Apple just introduced. I won't be able to update those dev tools until January 26th for backward compatibility reasons.
Mm, okay.
So you kind of somewhat out of luck, and if you uh, to put it mildly, uh, there is a French version of that.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
I don't know what you mean. So, uh, so maybe there is some way around it. I have to poke around, and again, like I don't have the environment same, probably don't have same environment you're running on. Probably it might not be the issue when you run on an actual physical device. Like you could check the same thing on a physical iPad or iPhone if you have a device around. You can verify if it glitches there or not. Let me know offline. Uh, or maybe they're gonna fix it in a week or so when they push new updates for fixes for the macOS. So they do that regularly, like for new, especially for new release. You would
Right.
you're gonna see update within a few weeks for sure.
Right.
Uh, anyway, that's kind of issue. Like I said, like if you or anyone who see that, like our your subscribers who see that stuff on a podcast, they can you see glitches. Like, well, the best thing you could do, send an email to support@practicecore.com. Let me know. Even if I won't be able to fix it, maybe I could help you to find a way around it, or maybe I'll at least I'm aware and I will start digging into that. Yeah. And by the way, one of the other new features, like now you can click on that high available thing to turn it off. So it is you can turn it off from the menu, but you can also click up here.
Right.
Uh, so and it gives you a hint that you actually running high available because some people get confused. Sometimes high available give you different standings than you see on Practice Core website or
Right.
anywhere else. So that's indicator. So okay, so here's your results are not really official results. It's a projected, predicted or whatever view uh, like of result that might happen in the future, right? So, but you can get rid of this setting by just clicking it. Same for combined. It's gonna add combined results next to this, and you can get rid of that one.
Right.
Yeah.
And it'll show them both at the top. Yeah. I hadn't seen that earlier. I like it though. Okay.
It's one of the recent features that's been added. So, uh,
Now, when I'm going to turn that off, when we were doing high available, just to clarify, I want to make sure that I'm looking at this right.
mhm.
So for Joseph Weichel, the 1572, that's if he wins every single stage that he has yet to, or is that with his average number of points lost?
Yeah, his average number of points, it's abbreviated APL, is 0.98 per stage. So
Right.
he's losing like okay 1 point per stage so far after 4 stages he shot. Like
Right. Very early, but
number of stages you can see on the left. Yeah, the screen representation is not ideal for your size actually. I may need to improve on that, like use more tabular form when its screen is this wide. But again, like it takes time to fiddle around with this kind of stuff. Plus, it's hard to make things work everywhere on all screen sizes.
right.
I'm still experimenting with this stuff, so I don't know. Like there are few options I could do. Like or you can just make screen narrower because the this wide screen doesn't do you any good right now. Right. Um, anyway, so yeah, so those 1572, it's they are taking into account average
The
points loss.
average points lost.
So,
Okay.
roughly what 13 stages, so it's minus 13 points his time. Yeah, there have been suggestion to put I don't know kind of um, in statistical analysis, this is all about probabilities, kind of thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, and the APL is it's option I choose to not go into area of dealing with probabilities because probability give you instead of single result, it actually give you a range. So his best shot is 1572 plus roughly 13 points, and his worst is well almost near down to zero, right? But really it's going to be close to his average points if he continue performing same at the same level. Like I think Adams average points are more representative, like 3.5 points a stage, uh, probably
Right.
more realistic. Like or maybe I don't know. Like Joseph is a GM, so maybe he is actually like his skill is that much better than everyone else in the match so far. then he is actually can just smash everyone with a few exceptions. Like 3 points he lost on one stage or something like that. Um, it's but so I still might add the probability option to in addition to those high available chart. Then you would have to see or have to look at the something like what they call the what's it called candlelight diagram when each row has a range and they stacked next to each other, and you see that when people overlap, so that's give you idea, like for example when people too close to each other, like between 100% and 97%, 97%, it's substantial gap, right? It's like you can see. So okay, so Joseph is this much better than Adam. But when you look at, for example, Tyler and Jonathan, 5 and 6 place, they are much closer, like within 1 point from each other right now.
Right.
Actually, no, they finished the match. But let's say if it would have been, it would have been like they still had to shoot it. So at that range of points, they probabilities probably they could flip at any time. Now they finished the match. It's kind of moot point. But if they weren't there still, if they still had stages to shoot, their range of available points would be kind of fluctuating potentially. Um, so, like I might still consider to adding other options or turn things off. Like or people being asking, okay, so remove the average point adjustment at all from that. So uh, I might add that option to remove it
Okay.
in app. So and the best way again to communicate that, send the email or reach out to me
S-
about things you like to see, things you don't like uh, seeing or don't like how it works. Again, like anything, uh, any ideas, positive, negative. Like okay, send an email. I'm
And
not
that's
biting.
support at practicescore.com.
Yes, yes. You can find email in the about section in the app as well.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Very nice. There's more. I mean, I had obviously played with it before, but there's a lot more ways to use it. And you've reached out before saying, "Hey, if you do this and that." You've even done it while I was doing live stuff. You've reached out and kind of communicated with me in the background. So
Yeah,
I greatly appreciate that. But there's a lot more to this that I can do than I realized.
yeah, and especially when you want to look at the results during live streaming, there are probably I could add a few more shortcuts, like but you don't think about it when you use you don't use that app that way. Like
Right.
so, I watching. I forgot which matches this year. Like there was IPSC Nationals, and there was match before that. That's when I added the timeline feature, and there are probably a few shortcuts could be added to improve that stuff even more. Like yeah, like I said, potentially we could do or we could show how the overall results are changing based on that score, like how how far you drop or jump based on that stage run. Uh, I kind of had that thing prototyped maybe few years back, like 5 or 6 years back. The app had a how it's called. Uh, you can drag the timeline on the top, and it shows you how your results kind of go
Oh,
when you kind of unwind the match to the beginning and wind it forward. So that thing didn't make
the new one.
to the release. app release. It's still there. New app can also potentially do that under the hood. It just never been exposed to the end users. Well, there's because there are some issues with that as well. Like, I mean, sometimes uh, it's it, like how to say you the time is either too granular to see the results or too coarse.
Mm. Okay.
So it's either like jumps or you have to drag it all the way and then catch that moment when things changed, or it's too coarse, you drag it a little bit and then like everything changed. So I never release it, but that timeline view I showed you earlier might actually allow something like this to be used. And again, like having it as a paid feature, like the paid features for this one has certain implications because really it also depends on practice score side, like you starting to pull score logs more, and that's additional kind of load on a practice score web infrastructure. So we
Okay.
have to like I might have to actually uh, convince Ken uh, to live with that when that feature getting abused or something. Um, I don't know, but again, like it's still early stages or prototypes. Yeah, if you see that you doing a lot of things, or you find it taking you too much or too many steps to get the information you needed during like I don't know live reviews of the scores, or some information you'd like to see but you don't see it out of the box, let me know.
Okay.
I'll see what I can do. Like again, I cannot make promises or guarantee when things get available, but yeah. If you don't let me know, then it's not gonna happen for sure. So what worst case
Right.
could happen? Like you
Right.
spend
There's
your
no chance.
sending me. Well, there's still, like I said, there still could be a chance that like 3 months later, someone else actually send me that email about the feature or bug you've been suffering for that long, and I fix it next day. Well, and you've been suffering for 3 months.
Right.
I'll, so what stopped you sending that email for all those 3 months and get that fixed in like I don't know, maybe next day, maybe next week, something like that. But surely or good chance sooner than 3 months. Sometimes issues we cannot resolve uh, in a timely manner because I don't know, like it's either system or our development tools doesn't allow you or doesn't support some certain things, like you just cannot do that. Or like for example, accessing removable SD cards on Android would been a big problem for a while because new tool sets had issues with that. So I think I sorted it out a couple months ago, but it's been different between old Practice Core One app and a new one app. But then again, only on Android because on iOS you don't have such thing at all,
Right.
right? So, and sometimes it also depends on the server. When things server cannot do that, then we probably can do that in the app, or it has to like all three things have to be updated: practice core app, website, and the competitor. So like it thinks, and in some case, you know, web guys might say no for they have their own challenges or reasons, right?
Okay.
Or certain things just out of um, out of roadmap, not in the roadmap for the website or what's not. Like I mean, we had I forgot what was it, but yes, we had to say no for some things. Or some things like we've done differently in a quick way, and there is a roadmap to address them like in a better way. But when that happens, we don't know. So it sort of uh, works. It produces the correct results. People can see them. Maybe they don't see them in a way they wanted them to see, but the results are there and they are correct. And now, since August, the practice core competitor can pull those results now, and they are also correct and conveniently available to you, so you can slide them differently. But website kind of lacking at the point. But again, there is work on a roadmap that maybe addresses those results at some point. So that's kind of how practice core been operating. So we fix immediate issues, and some of the non-critical stuff get resolved in probably slower pace.
Right. You get to it when you can. Okay.
Well, not me, some other
R-
guy, some other folks. Yeah.
right. Yeah. I'm just saying it's lower on the priority list. So, all right. Well, man, Eugene, that's a lot of information. I appreciate you coming on, and we were going to try to keep this at an hour, and 3 hours and 25 minutes in, we're still here. So
You should chop some of that part, probably. See if you can chop it off. Like some beginning probably boring, and I don't know if that needs to be really out. But I'll leave it up to you.
okay, all right. Well, again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for letting me play with the newer version, that you're working on, and sharing all of this. This is and all of your help in the past. So, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if you, like I said, if you need anything, reach out. And the same goes to all your viewers as well.
Okay. So remember that if you have suggestions or you come across something that you think isn't working right, support at practicescore.com. Thanks
Thank you.
again, Eugene. I appreciate it.
Thank you.